Whenever you're ready.
Oh, Tom?
All right.
No, it's, there's
Why is
three
it
fires
just
up in
showing
that
that?
area. The
Oh,
biggest
there we
one
go.
is down,
No, no, no.
south about 50 miles.
Okay, so-
The daughter.
We're on muted, you guys.
Grandkids and our son in law, they're out packing up the
It's okay.
motorhome. They're gonna go down to Walnut Creek for the weekend because they've been in smoke. And it's-
No, 50 and 60 miles is nothing when you think of the Thomas Fair.
No, the wind blows toward
No,
Tahoe.
it's just- So I would like to call the September 16th, 2022 Central Board of Architectural Review hearing to order. Going to then here, are there any members of the public who wish to make a comment regarding an item that is not on today's agenda? If you would like to do so, please raise your hand in Zoom if you're not here in person. It doesn't look like anybody here needs to comment. David, do you have anything else to add about phone?
Oh, so yes, if you're joining us by phone, a couple of commands on your phone to keep in mind. It'd be *6 to unmute yourself and *9 to raise your hand. So when the chair calls for public comment and you're joining us by phone, hit *9 to raise your hand. We'll call on you and then I'll instruct you to hit *6 to unmute yourself.
Yeah, I'm not seeing any public comment. The agenda status report.
All right, I don't have any changes to today's agenda.
Wonderful. Okay, the minutes of August 19th. Nicole, are you with us?
Yes, I'm here. And if I could just give a reminder to everyone that we went over the contents of the comments at the end of the last meeting. We should really just be looking at any of the actions if they need updates right now.
That's correct. I have only one comment, and it was regarding number 5, item number 5, the action, there's no vote. So we'll need to correct that. And then, actually, Nicole, yeah, I think that's it for me. Does anybody else have any factual comments, or, I mean, factual, anything about any of the actions or anything like that you need to add?
Madam Chair, I saw a couple typos on 1.1. Item 1.1. It says, reduce the height and a further reduce the footprint. I would take the A out to say and further reduce.
I got it, yep.
Okay, and then 6.1.
It needs an end on the sentence. I had light levels.
Where are you talking about 6.1? now?
Yep.
Oh, okay, second. 6.
At the very end of the sentence. Exacerbate
Yeah, and
light levels.
Got it.
exacerbate, well, I was gonna say protection, but,
Well, it doesn't,
projection.
let's just, can we just go with levels? Is that
Yeah,
okay?
sure.
All right, anything else?
And then finally, the last paragraph says Ensberg and Erickson Loan is absent. I was not absent. I was
She
present.
was here, that's correct. All right. Anybody else have anything else? No, Robin? All right. I'd like to make a motion to approve the minutes as amended. Can I have a second?
Second.
Okay, all in favor? Aye. Any noes? Any abstentions? One abstention, okay. I'm gonna close the minutes, all right. CBAR informational briefings, I just have one nice thing to add. Tuesday, we received a new board member
Oh,
who has not been sworn in and done all the paperwork and everything. They were optimistic at first that she would be here today, but so next meeting,
We get to find out who it is.
Clark, you know who it is.
Yes, her name is Denise Jones. And she is a landscape architect who moved to the area from Seattle.
and what's her last name? Jones?
Johns.
Johns.
Yeah.
Good.
Great.
Any other briefings? Okay, member recusals. I'm recusing myself from item number 2, San Ynez Banish Smash Indians Commercial Building. Any other recusals?
Oh, I have to recuse myself from those and the last one.
So item number 3 and item number 6.
Omarosa.
Okay. Okay, staff update, Nicole?
Good morning. Just a general question. Are you guys interested in cannabis appeals? There's a lot
In
of
our
them.
jurisdiction.
Okay, okay.
Potentially, you could move through them expeditiously.
Okay. On September 28th at the County Planning Commission in the Solving area is well, this is not cannabis, but the Buell Flat Rock Company mining reclamation plan. On September 28th, also, there's an appeal, the Beller appeal of the Citrus detached garage in the Solvang area. There's also on that day, there's an appeal of the Old College cannabis cultivation project that's in the San Ynez area. And I think those are the main ones coming up in the next month.
Okay,
Madam Chair,
yes,
are those to Planning Commission?
Correct. These
Nicole?
are all to the Planning Commission.
Okay, all right. But some of them are they all up in the valley? County
The ones
planning.
I just read are all in San Ynez or Solvang.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you.
thanks, Nicole. So we reconsider the circumstances of the COVID-19 state of emergency. We took no action on this, just as a note, we took no action on this last time because we chose to continue in person. So just little straw polls. Does anybody have any objection to continuing in person?
No.
Okay, so I think we're not going to take an action on this either. Just leave it on the agenda though. Yeah, it is.
Oh, it's on the member agenda.
Ah,
We couldn't do that. here.
yep, so we couldn't do it anyhow. All right. See, this is what I said. Is there a problem? Okay, so the standard agenda, item number 1, Midland Schools water storage tanks. I saw Mr. Sharkey and some others, so I'm assuming there's a team here for that. I'm gonna go ahead and get my screen ready. Do we have somebody here for the applicant?
Yes, hi, this is Adam Sharkey with Blackbird, and Heidi Jones from SEPS is here as well.
Okay, so this is item number 1, 22 bar 155. How would you like me to start off, Adam? Which one?
I think Heidi's going to give a little, and the planner, Tina might give an overview, but I think Bethany,
Yes.
here, there's a rendering one, I thought, that shows in color. It's probably the best thing to show the site plan and locations. And we could show a cut sheet of the tank flyer sheet. I think both of those were uploaded for you guys.
Okay, and I have a note here to ask the planner. Tina, did you have anything you needed to say?
Good morning, Madam Chair. No, I don't really have anything to add. This memo is just providing some background that we approved an amendment for the Midland CUP, and this water tank project is basically phase 2. So you saw some conceptual plans for this late last year, and now, they're back for this phase of the development.
For the next phase. Okay, thank you, and sorry I jumped ahead. Okay.
Good
Sorry,
morning,
Michael.
Chair, Commissioners. This is Heidi Jones with SEPS. Just to trail on what Ms. Mitchell said. Yeah, so part of the CUP amendment process and fire department conditions, this campus is required to have a total of 120,000 gallons of water storage for fire protection purposes. We currently have about 80,000 gallons sited in a general same area as the 4 new tanks. So with the 4 new 10,000 gallon tanks, we'll meet the total requirement to provide fire protection water for the site. So if you have questions, our team is available. We also have our civil engineer available if you have questions, but Adam can walk through the plans and spec sheets for you, and we're available if you have questions.
I think the plan set you were just on, Chair, before this was the second sheet is maybe of that 3 sheet, second and third sheet would be best. These are the civil plans, which are fine as well, but I think the color ones might be the clearest for the board. So I think it's that.
This is a single sheet, Adam.
Interesting. It says 1 of 3 when I see your sheet. You can't scroll down.
I think it may just be loading. Yeah.
Yep, it's loading.
They're downloading also on desktop.
So this area of campus is nearby where the board has recently reviewed and approved some months ago the upper yard redevelopment project, which is new cabins and a faculty duplex. The tank storage area is in that same general area of campus, but up the hill and in an area of sort of surrounding the area. It's open where the tanks will go, but it's surrounded by dense tree cover. So it's essentially invisible from the main parts of campus, which are lower down the hill. We need the height for gravity and pressure for flow. There's existing, as was mentioned, adjacent areas that have existing tanks. And so this system is tying into that. So that's the overall area. You can see the sort of black line work of the upper yard project, which is getting started in construction right now. North is up. So yeah, further up, even off the sheet is Figueroa Mountain Road, which is the nearest public kind of drivable venue. You can see out from that road, you can see the soccer field area, but then you just see this sheet is, I think, the best one. So you can kind of see the red little circles are some of the existing water tanks. The blue are the additional ones that will tie into that system. Again, you can't see it from sort of the main parts of campus, which are significantly down the hill. And then if the third sheet, there's just a couple site photos on the left side, and then on the right side, it's just diagramming in. So you can kind of see in the open area where these tanks will go. And you can see it's kind of dark, but up and to the right of the green line work are 2 I think you can see 2 of the existing tanks that
Right there.
Yes, that's right. That's the basics. The tanks themselves are dark in color and sort of low profile. There's a cut sheet if needed. I think it's like a tank flyer sheet or something that's in submitted materials, so people can get a sense of what they are. That's that's fine. You can
It's
get
the elevations.
Yeah, that's looking at it. So nothing.
And then yes, there is this is the.
Yeah, exactly. So that's the basics. It's going to, add better fire protection, safety measures for campus. So it's an important project, and appreciate your time and helping us get through the process. We're available for any questions.
Okay, thank you, Adam. just as a quick question, is this to match existing and what color are the existing?
Yes, I believe that these are dark green, which match the existing color. It's the standard color these tanks come in. Lydia from Coast Engineering is here. I think I have that right. Is that right, Lydia? I believe their existing and proposed tanks are all a dark green of this sort of standard.
I'm not sure the color of the tanks, but I would assume that they are dark green.
Yeah, that's my understanding is dark green. And they kind of show in that image you just had up, Bethany, of the
Yeah.
tanks.
I'm trying to get back to it. Sorry. Computer operator. And slow loading. So I thought David had set me all up and he had, and then I derailed it. So these were the tanks I was asking about.
Yeah.
I couldn't tell if they were dark green or black.
Yeah, they're
But
dark green.
as long as it's to match existing, that's.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Any quick questions from the board for clarification? No. Okay. Do we have any public comment? Nobody here, obviously.
So no public comments?
Okay. Board consideration, anybody have any comments? I'm basically fine with it just the way it is, as long as the stipulation of the plans is that it's to match existing as far as color.
Is there any landscape requirement?
Not for me. Anybody else?
I'll make a motion for final approval.
I think they are here for all three, so it's conceptual, preliminary, and
Oh, that's
final.
right. Conceptual, preliminary, final,
Okay,
with the color to match existing.
I'll second.
there's a second. Any further discussion? All in favor? Aye?
Aye.
Okay.
Thank you.
You guys look good to go, so
Thank you.
have a lovely day.
Thanks, appreciation.
Okay, so item number 22 bar 77, San Ynez Band of Shumash Indians Commercial Building.
I'll take this.
Okay. I'm gonna step out. You guys have fun. Mike, you wanna just, you run the meeting, I'll run the computer.
Vice Chair.
That's good.
Unfortunately, could you turn the lights back on? I have an
Yeah, I'm having a hard time.
eye issue and I can't read. Or somebody can read for me. Oh my gosh, thank you.
We can turn it back on.
Yeah. Item number 2, 00077, the conceptual review of a 40,000 square foot commercial building. It is on 0.27 acre parcel, zone C2, and is located at 0 Numancia in the San Ynez area. So do we have the applicant ready to go?
I'm here.
Okay.
Sam is online.
If you would introduce yourselves first.
Yes. Good morning, board members. My name is Frank Karnowski. I'm a principal of the architectural firm of Bellwick, and we were retained to design this commercial building for the Shumash Drive. So if we go to the next slide. So
Excuse me, we can turn the lights off again.
Can you read?
let's give it a try. Let's see.
Okay.
Here's my
Yeah.
notes.
You getting your exercise?
What's that?
Can you let us know where it is on Numancia?
It's right on the corner of Numancia and Edison.
Okay,
So on this site plan, 246 is on the bottom,
okay,
Edison is on the left, and Numancia is on the top.
okay.
So in siting the building, we were trying to hold, there's a couple different things we're trying to do here. We're holding the corner of Numancia and Edison with the building edge, because that's kind of what the township wants to hold that edge. So we have that edge. We also have a presence that on 246. So we're kind of creating these two different pieces, and we pull back from the corner. So because the site is elevated, so we didn't want the building kind of looming over the corner, and we wanted to give the township sign a little bit of room to breathe, because it's on that corner too, so we didn't want a building kind of right up behind it. So that gives us kind of, you know, two smaller volumes of the building too, so it doesn't feel like one big building, it's kind of two smaller, more scaled down. So, you know, that helps us with, you know, creating an outdoor space there for the occupants of the building as well on that front side. And then the parking lot design, we're gonna keep the diagonal or improve the diagonal spaces on Numancia. And then use the parking lot and work around the large mature trees that are there for our parking. And then add in additional trees. And then the orientation of the building, we try to use the kind of north-south axis. So when you site a building for energy efficiency, you want the long sides to be on the north and the south side, because the north is great light, no heat gain. South, you get the sun in the summer or in the winter when you want it because it's low, and in the summer you can control the overhangs. And in the east and west sides are always trying to stay the smallest because it's harder or almost impossible to control the sun, because when it comes up and sets, you can't get shading down that low and still have windows and get light in. So that was the reason that the rectangular bars are in the orientation that they are. So we kind of have two kind of bars connected with a link, you know, bridge there in the middle that connects the two sides. So that, you know, minimizes the energy footprint of this building as well. Check to make sure I got everything. So that's kind of the siting of the building and what how we did, you know, collecting it and putting it on the site and maintaining the square footage that they want and the parking count that was needed. And if we go to the next slide, we have added a couple quick views of what the building could look like. And on the building, we took the cues from the rural architecture that's in the area, with the sloped roofs, the materials like exposed rafter tails, and then commonly used materials like the heavy wood timbers and kickers and siding, and, you know, stone on the vertical elements. So arcades around the perimeter for either circulation or outdoor spaces. So those are all kind of elements that are within the architectural style. And then we soften the ground plane with landscapes of the building, kind of land softer, both on this one, and if you can scroll to the next one too, we can kind of go back and forth, it shows you. This is the corner of Edison and Numancia. So we want to take the cues from the architecture of the township, but we don't want to copy it, because this is a new building, and it's going to be kind of the entry building. We don't want to try to make it look like it's an old historic building. So we're kind of taking all those cues and the materials that are used on those other structures and applying them in a different manner. Again, trying to think about the energy efficiency of the site, the actual unique features of the site, and how we want to maintain certain pieces, and then, you know, try to create a space both on both sides, one for the occupants and one on an entry space. And then obviously the site will tear us up. It's hard to tell here that with the topography of it, but there is some elevation gain. I'm sure you're familiar with that corner. Right now, I think it has some of the trailers that are being used for the construction. So that's what I have today. Here for any questions if you need.
All right, are there any questions from the board?
I was wondering about the materials of the structure.
Yeah, the materials are siding and plaster, most likely for the exterior materials. Then the windows will be either a wood or a wood clad window. And then exposed rafter tails are all wood. So it's going to be a wooden frame building. We're trying to keep it small enough so we can do the building out of wood. So that's kind of the goal, is to try and keep those more natural materials. The roof could be either a shingle or standing seam. You know, we haven't quite gotten to all the details yet. We want to make sure we're in the right direction, and we'll obviously be coming back. This is just our first pass here.
Any other questions?
Yeah, I have a question. Something is not adding up for me here. So it says the property size is 0.27 acres. That's 11,700 square feet.
Yeah, I'm not sure that.
Story building that it's 40,000 square feet. So how does that work?
I'm not sure that's like an area.
Yeah, I think, just Brian Tetley, we were planning concepts, land use station for the project. I think that was just referencing one of the, I think, 6 total parcels that's co-owned here. And so we're really looking at that whole southern block in advance. It's about 2.6 acres in total.
Also, can you give us a elevation from the street to the pad site? What is the difference from, say, Highway 246 to pad site?
Yeah, we haven't figured that out yet because again, the site slopes up as you go to the east. So we'll have to terrace that and balance the site because we don't want to export or import to the site. So we're gonna have to figure out what that is. Right now, I think it's about, at 246 on the tallest side, I think it's like 12 to 15 feet up. And then that slowly comes up as you go up Edison, right? That's
Right.
like if you're in the middle of a block on 246, it's probably 12 to 15 feet up. And then as you get towards the corner, it's down further, like 10 feet up. At the corner at 246 and Edison's probably 10 above 246.
Yes.
Midway down 246, it's going up, right? The site is getting sloping up and the roadway is staying fairly flat. So we'll be somewhere probably in the 8 to 10 foot from the corner of 246 and Edison.
Okay.
But that's why, again, why I'm pulling it back off of that corner, so because the sign is right there, the township sign.
And then how tall is the building?
Right now, it's 2 stories, so we haven't really, I think we have it at 14 foot on the first floor, and then 12, and then you have a sloped roof, so it's probably under 30 feet, or around 30 feet. Again, we have
What's
it
your elevation change? You're gonna be over 40 feet tall.
from the corner,
Roadway.
yeah.
Any other questions? Because I have a couple. If you were going directly west from the southern corner of the southwest corner of the building, how many feet are you away from the intersection of actual pavement?
Southwest corner of the building, on the one on the chunk on the 246 side.
Yeah, yes, the 2 point, the most southern portion of the
The
building.
lower left.
The lower left.
Yeah, you're just trying to say how far from the intersection is that corner of the building?
Yeah, if you struck a straight line west. How far
This
is
is
that?
40 scale, so that's probably 80 to 100 feet.
80 to 100 feet?
Correct.
Okay, so then how long is the building?
Yeah, I'm guessing because it's a 40th scale. Looks like it's 160 feet long.
So it just doesn't, it appears longer than that if the distance to the west to the paving is 100 feet. If you take that same measurement, looks like it's more like 200 feet. But I'll take 160.
Yeah, I'm just marking it off here. I have the scale on my back. I can do it. $160 was right. And it's 100, yeah, 90 to 100. Scale is 4 inches long, so that's 4 times 40. From the corner to the thing is 2 3/8, so 2 almost 2 1/2, which would be 100.
So just to be clear, this is, are you finished? Sorry.
Oh, no, well, I'll jump in again. Okay.
Sorry. Just to be clear, this is town property, not reservation property?
Correct.
And on the perspective, the rendering, if you could go back to that. Is it just the way it's rendered? It appears that stone wall is actually higher than the finished floor of the bottom floor of the building?
It's just the way it's rendered. I don't think we're gonna have any,
I know.
if there's a wall there, it'll just be seat height wall.
Okay,
Just to, because the slope is coming up there, and I'm just trying to put a border on the kind of courtyard area that's outside, so it doesn't just roll over onto the thing. onto
and
the
so
slope.
in further renderings, can you incorporate the existing town sign?
Sure,
So we understand that relationship.
sure.
And on your site plan, where is the Caltrans right of way? Because you obviously can't plant in that right of way.
Yeah, that line that's shown right there is the extent of where Caltrans could build. It's not where it is now. So we have a couple different setbacks from that side. And
So where the arrow is now, that's the right of way?
that's the right of way, I believe.
So it's not the edge of paving? And it gives the impression that it's the edge of paving.
Well, the actual roadway right now as built is south of that arrow. So
Okay,
we kind of drew it as worst case scenario if Caltrans builds to their potential with turn pockets and all the other decel things that they have to put there. That's kind of what we're using, but the site plan that we have that's embedded in this isn't on here because this is a graphic one. Has all of our setbacks from that side, and they're actually greater from the 246 side. There's another setback line that goes through there as well.
right. So
Other than that,
I just, in future renderings for context, it would be helpful to
Okay.
have
we'll put in
what's.
what the roadway is right now, as far as show the pavement that's out there right now, and then show right away.
And are the windows, do you imagine them to be flush mounted?
They'll have some reveal. We want a little bit of shadow line. So the wall will probably be a 6-inch thick or 8-inch thick wall, and the window will probably be pushed flush with the back, so you get a little bit of a shadow on the window, so they're not completely flush with the wall.
All right, any board comments?
We're still doing questions on
Okay.
that question. Go ahead, Robin.
Well, I just had a question about below the line of windows, you can see some square, are those windows or is that a wall or?
That's the windows on the ground floor, right? So there's ground floor windows and second floor windows, and there's a kind of terrace that walks around.
Okay, they're just a larger window.
Yeah, there's a larger window,
Cass?
which is another reason for the building being broken into pieces, is you can get the light into the floor plate further, so you don't have dark. Like if there's a big square, there'd be a dark area in the middle, so just trying to make the footprint thinner. Get the light in.
Madam Chair.
Yes.
Yes, I realize this is, you're just coming in for the first time, just for input, so there's lots that is missing, and of course, we would be really we have to have the overall area, plan to see where the road is and everything, which you'll have, I'm sure. But my question.
Would you like, I mean, we can do another site plan too that pulls out a little further if you want to see more context around the site.
Well, yeah, you're gonna need the entire, the vicinity map and the, showing the roads and all of the things that have been asked for, the sidewalk, the road, everything. But that I'm sure will come. So I'm just looking more at a bigger picture here, just in terms of your overall design. And you did talk about your inspiration of, how you came to this particular idea. And I didn't know whether you have any photographs of, it doesn't appear that you have any photographs of the surrounding, or if you have any photographs of what it was that inspired you to go this direction for your design.
I don't have any in this.
But there was something you mentioned.
It was really and I can get some photographs of it, it's really the style of architecture. I didn't go to a particular building and say, I mimic that building. It's really the overhangs, when you look at the traditional architecture, there was like a boardwalk that came out front. There was a place for people to walk underneath adjacent to the building. They all had, most of their slope roofs. They have extended rafter tails. So these are the elements that I've taken and put it into this design. So I've taken the site plan and rearranged the building in a more contemporary fashion, thinking of it for light and energy and just its specific site, how it fits. And then I apply those rules from the traditional architecture to it, because I could have made it a, white box, contemporary looking, the same site plan. I just took those elements and then applied that to it. So I can get you pictures to show you, here's the elements that I took, but they might not look, that building won't look like this
No,
building.
I understand. I just, just wondering where you got your different inspiration from, but
Okay.
that's good. And then same question, I guess, with regard to the landscaping, you were saying that you were keeping existing elements, and what were I know you mentioned a couple of trees that are existing. Are those noted? Which trees are existing?
No,
Can you point those out to us, which ones are existing? And then maybe talk about how this design is accentuating the existing character of the area or site. A little bit. Those are my questions.
All right, are there any further questions? And we didn't hear any public comment.
Madam Chair, we do have Mr. Cohen online. I'm not sure if he had anything he wanted to add.
Oh, okay, good. Mr. Cohen?
Yes. Sam Cohen, I'm the attorney for the applicant, and I'm just here as a resource.
Thank you for joining us. Now I think we'll move to board comments. Who would like to jump in first?
I'll go first.
Okay.
I appreciate your sensitivity to, the location, the footprint, and holding it back from the road. So I appreciate that. And that you're thinking about the environmental issues, the sun orientation and all that. So I appreciate that very much. And I appreciate the kind of creative approach that you've taken. I do feel that this design, it feels a little bit like a apartment. The style of it, for some reason, it comes off like an apartment building, or possibly even like sort of a 1950s or 60s motor court kind of vibe that I get from it. So I'm not sure it's really, but I appreciate that, that you've used these beams and that you've kind of taken a creative approach to it. I'm not sure it's really, maybe we could go to the elevation or the rendering there. It's a little bit better. That you've really gotten there. The long windows upstairs just kind of send this message of like a door. They look like doors, and they look like doors to maybe if this is a motor court type thing or a residential kind of situation. It gives me that feeling. So I think you have some interesting pieces going on, but I think I would recommend that you study that more. And also, I think that this particular elevation we're looking at is facing south. So I'm not sure you've really accomplished what you were hoping to do, which is to control the light. It looks like you're going to really capture a lot of light coming through there. So maybe there's another way you could figure out how the roof works to get better shading over those windows. And I'm not sure they really need to be so down to the floor. I don't know how the interior of the space works. And having windows all the way to the floor might restrict your ability on the interior to use the space well. But I do think you have some interesting things going on. I just would urge you to study it further based on those kind of comments.
Okay.
And so appreciate the presentation. Also, I feel on the landscape, and I'll look to my landscape colleagues here to address this more, but it feels, I think you have an opportunity for it to feel like it was a building set into the natural environment more. So not so much development. I mean, I appreciate the courtyard and all that, but courtyard doesn't have to be contained so much. It can be contained more with natural natives or something maybe. I just think that there's a great opportunity to use, make it feel like it's a natural environment that this new structure now is setting down into. So it just feels a little bit kind of overwrought right now. So anyway, just would suggest you take a look at that, but appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Robin?
Thank you for the presentation. I concur with Cass. And I think what I would need here is some photographs of the surrounding area to put it in place.
Any other comments?
No.
Well,
I appreciate previous comments, and I agree with Cass that the exposure of the building is really to the southwest, which is the hottest and windiest part of the windiest exposure that this building would receive. So the large windows are problematic for me, but general view, I think that the building is massive for Sandy Shores. That it's probably 4 times the size of the existing largest buildings in Sandy. So I have a problem with the size of both buildings. Yes.
Could you repeat the last sentence?
I have a problem with the size and the bulk of the building. As it's
Okay.
4 times the size of probably the largest existing building in Sandy.
Okay.
like the other comments, I really appreciate your sensitivity to the siting in terms of solar exposure and that sort of thing. But I feel, at least from the renderings, it, looks like to me a building that is driven by constructability, and that there is no real articulation in the massing. It's just straight on roof trusses, uninterrupted ridge lines, no real definition or play within the building facades. I mean, they're basically boxes, and then there are things tacked onto it, which I think they're really interesting elements, but it doesn't actually hide the fact that you've got 2 massive ridge lines and 2-story buildings that will be above the highway. So I think to help us better understand your approach, that moving forward, having both sections east-west and north-south, and based on a real survey, survey information. So we're not really guessing at these heights is critical. Another issue that comes up in large buildings in the valley is what happens with all the venting. We've had a number of larger buildings that, when constructed, have, a couple hundred vents on them. And we want to try and avoid that.
Talking about roof or wall?
Yeah, roof vents. And so what is the tall piece in the back that looks sort of like a chimney?
Yeah, you'll have to have an elevator somewhere, so the overrun of the elevator has to go above the floor that it serves, right? So and again, it's just an element to help break up, to your point, that elevation, this side does have some in and out and up and down with those kind of pieces. It's kind of hard to see from this perspective, but I know where you're going with it. But that's why
Yeah.
we have, I think there's one even on the other elevation or the other rendering too, that there's a vertical element, to just kind of give it some up and down along the ridge line. So it's not just the heat that just follows the skyline all the way around.
And I think, to Cass's point, this particular elevation given the size of the building. It just sort of reflects a way of framing that, and then you put the outriggers on it. That's it. But anyway, I mean, this is, I really appreciate, I think we all appreciate it coming in for this first look. And again, actual context of what's across the street on Vancia and all of that, I think will be really helpful for the project moving forward.
I guess I had one other comment, if I may.
Yeah.
I do want to say that I appreciate what Lowell said, and I agree that the size and bulk is could be dealt with in a better way. It just seems too massive. And just the repetitive of the windows, and I guess maybe a better hierarchy of, the entrance, of the coming from the public realm, from the road, coming into the building. It always should be very clear, where's the front door, and then the other pieces, the wings that go off of that. It just, I guess I kind of said that before too, but the repetitiveness of these windows, there just seems like there could be a little more creativity with that.
One other issue, the existing trees, then they're really driving your finished floor elevation.
Not as much because they're all on the east end of the site. So the site slopes down. So those are up, they're more in the parking area over there in the east, northeast corner.
Okay, so there aren't really any large existing trees around the building.
No,
Okay.
they're all around that corner up there.
Okay. And typically on large commercial projects like this one, we do site visits with story poles. Is the board?
Well, we're not, I wouldn't think that we're very close to that yet. I feel like they
Right.
need to come
So
back with,
I just want you to keep that in mind.
but down the road.
That as we move forward, that's going to be something that we're going to be looking for. So I think the next pass will be just a lot more information for us. So we really understand the context of this building and digest our comments as well.
Sure. Appreciate all the feedback.
Okay,
Thank you.
so much.
Thank you.
It's a very good presentation.
Let's see if I can find that.
All right. We will move on. Actually,
Is this the one you have to recuse yourself?
yeah. I have to recuse myself for this one. So.
All right. My screen is up. Perfect. And call the item.
Yeah, I'm recusing myself.
No worries. Okay, so item number 3, 22 bar 133, Load New Pool and Pool Cabana. And we have somebody present here for this item.
Yes, good morning. It's Tony Cano.
Hi, Tony. I'm gonna ask if the planner's present has anything to add, and then I'm gonna read the comments, and then you are welcome to start your presentation, okay?
Excellent. Yeah, thank you.
The planner is Soren Kringle. Do you have anything to add? I don't think they're here, so. All right, so the comments from last time were, as proposed, the amount of glazing would result in excessive light trespass, which must be addressed. Consider lowering the height of the structure to be more subordinate to the main residence. Difference in materials as compared to the main residence is acceptable. Okay, Tony?
Okay, just perhaps an overview. Am I able to share my screen or I'm at your mercy again?
You're at my mercy, sir.
Okay, all right. I think probably the most important document we have would be the last sheet there, the landscape plan. We've provided some additional photos for screening, site distances that were required or asked for, and also adjacent screening. So to the left, I'd like to address the screening that's been provided or that exists between the neighbors. And if we could zoom in, those photos will help to illustrate or demonstrate what's been done thus far. Yeah, so the one there,
Sorry.
that's all right. The one at the top there above the landscape plan will help to show that there's quite a dense landscape screening that already exists, upper left hand, or actually in the middle of the page there. There you have it. You know, maybe I've jumped ahead. I don't know if there are members that are present that weren't present the last time, but some of these things that we've added to the presentation address the issues of light trespass.
Okay.
So again, if you could zoom in, if it's helpful, that photo at the top of that particular page will help to show landscape screening for the northerly neighbor. So it's extremely dense. You know, you'd really have to strain to pick up the building or any fenestration for that adjacent structure. And then there's also photos at the bottom of this sheet that show plantings that have already been started and planted along the adjacent two-story structure there. So each of those photos, right and left, if you wanted to zoom in, you can see that we've planted significant hedgerow that's illustrated in the plan itself. So I think that helps to address any concerns about the northerly neighbor. And quite frankly, the pool cabana has been located there because of that adjacent residence is two-story. We wanted to provide some visual screening as well with the building. So it kind of works hand in hand to provide screening for each side, actually. And then Bethany, if you could kindly zoom out, we've got a full on-site section to the right of this drawing here. I think there was a question raised as, you know, what is the change in elevation? I think this is a great illustration that shows that the cabana, which would be at the pool elevation there, there's quite a significant drop in elevation. That photo just below the pool illustrated there is towards the back of the property, which is roughly, 600 to 800 feet beyond where the cabana would be located. So you really can't see the structure from even this far away.
Okay, and this is the access road, not the drive, right?
That's correct. If you look at the illustration, you'll see the cut line.
Right there.
Yes, so that's a meandering drive that takes down to the lower section of the property.
Oh, I'm sorry. So this is the concrete swale here. This is the access road.
Yeah,
this is the barn.
Yes, the private road, correct.
Okay.
So just trying to put things into context and proximity. And I know that I've measured from a Google Earth image, and I think the nearest building across the way is probably 2,500 to 3,000 feet away. So it's considerable distance. And then we can go back to the, before we leave this, I've got Scott with Arcadia Studios with us, and he can kind of elaborate on landscape screening and so forth there.
Yeah, I don't know if there's too much that's changed from our sort of plan via planting and sort of the layout. We still have planting up against the house there. The main pool deck that wraps around that new pool, and then it does terrace down to that lower bocce court area But I think, as Tony stated, our main goal was to show more site context to the north and south, showing the existing vegetation to the north. That's fairly dense. And then to the south where we have that, it's a big laurel hedge that's been planted underneath those pine trees there to help screen that area as well. And then the elevation, the section elevation, just to show what that view would be from down below, and those adjacent properties to the east, looking back up to indicate that the pool cabana is fairly tucked back up towards the house. And so hopefully that helps clarify that view. And then just the last thing on this sheet is just sort of the plant palette, suggestions of plant material that we'd be using in around the pool area and the bocce court.
I think that's up here.
Yes.
There you have it. Mhm.
Any other plans you want to look at, Tony?
Yes, it's probably wise to look at the exterior renderings there, the perspective. Yeah, there you have it. Mhm. So we've taken other comments into consideration, reduced the exterior lighting elements, and also, again, because of the tremendous views, I think it'd be a shame not to take advantage of the views from really essentially all sides. But we've reduced the windows there towards the two-story neighbor, and we've also incorporated window treatments that can be used at night to reduce the light trespass. And you can see those in the renderings. I've just shown them in a partial open, partial closed scenario. Yeah, there you have it. So we'd have those window treatments on all sides. And then the interior lights we see being tucked in up underneath the vaulted ceiling, so they wouldn't be directly shining from a horizontal line out through the windows. I firmly believe we can have some pendants or other lights tucked up underneath the vaulted ceiling. So I think with those considerations, I think we've addressed the board's concerns for the conceptual at this point.
Okay. Any other sheets and comments you want to make?
No, I think that covers it.
Okay. Then let's quickly, do we have any questions for clarification before I go to public comment?
I have one question, Madam Chair. Are the entry doors, are they also glass doors? The one we're looking at, those doors right there, is that a glass door as well?
Well, the door being to the right of that door, Bethany, if you're operating the cursor, that we changed that from a glass door to a solid wood door to the right.
This one.
To the right. Okay, to the right of the garage doors.
Or well, yes, the one that
the folding up doors. Yeah, the folding up doors.
No, those are still glass. They're transparent. Mm-hmm.
Oh, okay. So the ones on the left, the big ones with the grid of 12 each, those are steel windows.
Yeah, so those would be sectional roll-ups to allow.
That's what that's what I meant. I'm sorry, I didn't get the right words, but those are roll-up doors.
Yes. So they're intended to be a clear opening there. Yes.
And then the man door to the right of there is solid.
Yeah, that pedestrian door, and then also to the restroom around the corner if you go to the other rendering.
Okay. And then on the opposite end, I think there was that other door, or was it on the back side?
Yes, it should be coming.
Okay, and then that one is also a solid door.
No, those are all transparent. That door there is solid.
That's what I mean, yes, the man door, I'm calling it.
Okay.
Okay, it's like a 36 inch door or something.
Yeah, that's right. Right.
Okay, and then on this end here, those are using the generic, those are folding doors open up, right?
Yeah, we see that as sort of a bifold / or accordion type door from La Cantina, for instance. that would,
Yeah.
that would allow for that corner to open up in each direction.
Right. Okay, so, and then these are windows on the corner, obviously.
That's right. Uh-huh.
And are those double hung?
You know, we haven't quite resolved that, but I think that they could even be an awning because we're going to need some ventilation on the corner there due to the indoor cooking, a barbecue area. So I think that those are either an awning type, almost like if you would envision an old garage door that was a one-piece swing up. And then the other two singular windows off to the left, those would be an awning window.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Tony, I have a quick question. These two triangular shapes here, I'm reading I can see the inside of the underside of the roof.
Yes.
So is that glazing also?
It would be, and it would be fixed glazing.
Okay.
Uh-huh.
All right. Any other questions?
I had a question about the window treatment in regard to light escape.
Okay.
Oops, sorry.
Yeah, if you go to the section just further up, is this Robin asking?
Yes.
So there's a section there, and I'm seeing some screen pockets, and I've noted it on my section there. If you can zoom into the building section, we'll have some sort of roll down, either a Mecco shade or something of a certain transparency that still allows for views towards the outside. But when nighttime skies come in, and we can screen some of the light transmission or light trespass.
And Tony, is there an actual treatment on the glass itself?
You know, we had some discussion that maybe possibly tinting the glass, but I'd rather not do that. I think the idea is to, have a clear view to these tremendous views. And I would only do that or suggest that as a last resort.
Okay, any other quick questions? Okay, public comment? Do we have anybody who would like to make a comment on this item? Could you raise your hand, please? I like to give them a couple seconds because I always fumble. Okay, let's go to the board consideration. Who'd like to start?
I'll start to say, I appreciate all the efforts done by the applicant, and I have no negative comments. I think it's all good. So I'm okay with the project to move forward.
Okay, Rhoda?
I'm good with the project.
Cass?
I really appreciate the work and the design. I still have concerns about all of this glass. And I certainly, of course, recognize that there's incredible views. I have no doubt about it. But I still think that this is a lot of glass that is going to be, and this is a pool house. I can imagine it will be a very popular spot and used in the evenings, and that there could be a lot of light coming out of there. And I think that, I appreciate the idea of putting in some protections, but it would require the owner remembering to put them down. If somebody were being affected by the light, they would have to call over and say, hey, can you put your blinds down? So I'm not sure that works. And I do think that it would not be hard to reduce the glazing somewhat. It's really basically a wide open building. So I'm sorry to have that different point of view from my colleagues here, but I still am concerned about the light. And I know having the screening of the trees, I know in my own property, we have trees around too, but when a car is coming down the road, we definitely can see the light coming right through. And this will be, I think, a lot of light coming out of this, basically be pretty glass building. So I'm a little uncomfortable with it as it is right now. But I thank you, and I think it's a really cool design.
Well, and Robin, did you have any response to Cass's comments or?
I would say, you know, I appreciate Cass's comments and understand. I mean, if they designed the building with just an open pergola or open patio, would that be acceptable, or without having glass roll up doors? It was just open.
That's an interesting point. So basically what you're saying is if this was just a pergola with a roof and some pendant lighting underneath it,
Right.
you would have essentially all four sides open.
Right. Would
So
be that
what's the
critical?
difference?
Okay.
Yeah.
But then I would say, well, then it would have exterior light fixtures that all had night sky compliant, fixtures in them that would control any lights, going up. With this, we're creating what we refer to oftentimes as this sort of lighthouse effect, where it is a structure with lighting that is interior lighting that it does not have that, control to keep, so the light just kind of comes flooding out. And it's not just like, I'll use an extreme example, but we see, in communities where there's a lot of light, that's where you get you get light around the community, which then affects your ability to appreciate the night sky. So this is why I'm concerned. If this were, as you suggested, then I think it could be more acceptable because the light could be controlled. But since this is a habitable space, it has lighting associated with that.
Okay. Well, in my opinion, we haven't talked about lighting, and I think that's something, this is conceptual review. I think as we move forward, we can talk about the lighting and see that, we get some lighting that is, night sky compliant, that is tucked up inside. And I understand what your point is valid, Cass. You might have a lamp, and you might have other fixtures in there, afterwards. And while that's much more likely to happen in a structure that's enclosed, it could happen on a covered element like Lowell was talking about. So, I can see it going both ways, but for right now, I think that there's been a lot of effort put into it. There's been some reducing. We've closed off some doors, made them solid. I think it's gotten there quite a ways, and that once the architect takes a look, preliminary, once they take a look at the lighting that, Tony mentioned, some pendant lights, but I think that if we are really careful in how we have those lights set in, that as we move forward, I think we can take some control over it and keep it in line kind of with the way I would normally look at a project. So I think he's made a lot of work towards this, and I don't have as big an issue with it at this point, except for the interior lighting and seeing the specifications as he moves forward.
If I could just,
I
don't think, the interior lighting is just a whole different animal. It's a completely different animal. We don't have control over that. And so I don't think we can. I think on the exterior, certainly any lights that are on the exterior, we'll call out, as we always do, that they be night sky compliant. But on the interior, we're not able to call those out to be night sky compliant on an interior of a structure. So as I say, I very much appreciate the skill and the design. But and as always, any kind of a critique is meant to be a positive input. And I just appreciate what you all say. And but I will still have to say that I'm very concerned about it. And I think that there's an opportunity to reduce the amount of glazing. And maybe restudy the folding door on that, I'm not, which side is that?
East facing.
Yeah, thank you, Tony. Restudy that, is that, could that possibly be rethought? I mean, is it really necessary to have that when you have the other two that already roll up? Maybe that could continue to be a band, like those corner awning windows or something. Maybe that there's a possibility there. I guess, as a designer myself, I always appreciate, the opportunity to sort of step back and think like, maybe there is something else that might make this even better. So that is the spirit in which I say this. And again, very much appreciate the skill of the work and the attempt to try to mitigate with the blinds. I just think that, as I already said, that the blinds, the owner would have to remember to put them down, and they might be having too much fun to remember that. No, I would.
Well,
so anyway, just to,
may I make a comment?
Yes,
absolutely. Really quick.
Yeah, Cass, I believe it was you that mentioned the neighbors, and I think, this client is going to be respectful of their neighbors, and that then becomes a neighborly relationship thing, and, respecting one another's privacy or what else have you. So if the neighbors call up, hey, could you turn the lights down? That kind of thing works too. I don't think it always has to be generated based on the amount of glazing that's been presented. I mean,
this is Nicole.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, and Nicole, thank you. I was gonna stop in too. It's one of those things where we need to get back to our board comments. I personally, and this is kind of, we've kind of got some differing opinions here. On balance, we've got a 3-to-1 that feels that we can move forward, certainly, with the next level. But, as we move forward, I think there are some things some takeaways to keep in mind. And Nicole, this is for your minutes. I am with Cass. I think it could be interesting to look at extending this band of windows on the east side instead of having openings like that. And my thought process is running along the lines of because even though this is based on the section we looked at, and this is the backside of a property that would be backing into another property and not necessarily a road. It is, as demonstrated in the elevation, up on a hill. And so we're not just concerned with light trespass. We are specifically concerned with light trespass to the adjacent neighbor, the immediately adjacent neighbors. And Tony's done a very effective job with the landscaping design as well. Arcadia Studio Scott have done a nice job of addressing the immediate neighbors. And I think this is more nitpicky in a way. But my concern is also, it's more that distant view, because you can find a pinprick of light. It's easy to find it at night. And the whole point of the dark sky is to try and, eliminate those kinds of things. And so the 2 roll-up doors facing the pool, I don't have as much concern with as they're facing right into the project. It's this east end. I'm with Cass in as much as I think there's an opportunity there to reduce some of that light trespass as it moves over the open area, where it drops off the hill drops off. So that's my comment. So Nicole, I would look at in the comments, capturing Cass's concerns, but the opportunities on this eastern end, and the fact that while there's the inside, getting right down to what light fixtures and all that kind of stuff, as Cass mentioned, it's a little, it's not outside of our purview because of its effect, but we're not as able to say, we want you to do this. So this is how I would make the request to Tony in the notes is I would say, could you please look at when you're doing your design on for the interior lighting, really try and think of it in some ways as it would appear as an exterior light, and try and really be very sensitive about it. I think also there's an opportunity on this end where these two triangular, the eastern side, the two triangular openings, those could be blocked off without, I mean, nobody's gonna have their head up in the rafters looking at stuff. So that's not a view opportunity. And that could be nice, maybe as a way of closing down that light trespass.
Agree.
So that's kind of what I think for the notes. Does that help you, Nicole?
Yes, thank you.
Okay, so I think that pretty much sums up our, we want to see it return preliminary full board.
I just wanted to add.
Yes, Robin.
That given that I appreciate the idea of the owner having protections, but if the house is ever sold, then we don't necessarily have those protections. And I agree with Cass about the interior lighting. We don't really have any say over. So I do still have concerns.
Right.
And I like Bethany's.
So maybe throw in a comment about consider tinting the windows.
Yes.
Okay. Okay, that has the board's support, Nicole. So maybe consideration of adding some tint to the windows.
Got it.
And your suggestion, Chair, of, possibly eliminating the clear stories, I think that could be done easily without compromising anything.
Okay.
Yes.
All right.
But appreciation always. Thank you.
Yeah. Return preliminary full board. Okay, please return preliminary full board.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Thank you.
Item number 4,
Thank you very much.
22 bar 39 Cave Chadwick, new single family dwelling and accessory structures. Tina, do you have anything you need to let us know about this project or?
Hi, Madam Chair. I did provide a planner memo, just kind of with some updates. The biggest one being that the pathway covering has been removed from the project description. So that's a development. Also, the height of the proposed barn has been reduced to 16 feet. So that's in compliance with hillside and ridgeline requirements. In terms of the development spread, just wanted to note that there's no development envelope for this property. It's not under an agricultural preserve contract, so there's no development envelope essentially. And then finally, I just noted a policy from the San Ynez Valley Community Plan regarding lighting that is applicable to this project. I did do a little research on, nearby public roads, and there's really not any public roads nearby. I think the closest is the 246, and it's about 1.88 miles away. So that was the research I did, and I'm available for any questions.
Thank you, Tina. All right, let me read the comments from last time, and then we will move to the applicant. Light trespass, well, actually, they're right here, so we just do that. Light trespass is a big concern given the quantity of glazing and the fact that the many roof structures slope upward and will project and exacerbate light levels. The cover over the pathway is a concern as it is not compatible with the surrounding area. The pathway cover and certain architectural elements obstruct views of the landscape rather than frame the landscape. Address whether or not the barn is subject to hillside and ridgeline requirements. Cannot make findings to support the project as proposed because it is not compatible with the surrounding area and would result in light trespass and is not a cluster development. Return for further conceptual review. All right, so let's go. This is item number 4. Sorry. Thought I had everything open. Okay, and we have a member of the applicant's team.
Yeah, good morning. This is Craig Minus with CAM Land Use and Development. I'm the land planner on the applicant side, and I'm joined by Andrew Hyde, our architect. Just wanted to say thank you for the time this morning. Our team spent, considerable time researching your remaining comments, and, we're really hopeful that today we can show that we've addressed those to your satisfactory. I'm going to jump around a little bit just to stay efficient. I won't go in the order of your comments because I think there's some low-hanging fruit that we can knock off. So if you wouldn't mind jumping to slide 7 real fast.
Don't mind at all. Hold on a
Thank
second.
you.
That's 6.
7, yeah.
And
So again, I just wanted to remind you, we've been in front of your board and received your comments. This is now our 3rd time. So we saw you on June 10th. We had about 11 comments to address. We came back on the 19th of August. Believe we satisfied 7 of those and 4 remained. So the 4 that remained are again, what were in the minutes, and we'll address those now. So again, low-hanging fruit. If you don't mind jumping to 17, slide 17. This was your comment too, and like Tina just kind of informed you, it had to do with the covered path. If you remember, a big part of our design and the intent of the project was this path connecting the structures. It was really an integral part of that design. We happened to have it covered. And I think we heard loud and clear that, the C-Bar was unlikely to approve our project with that covered pathway. So again, I think we've decided to remove that covered portion of the pathway. Again, the connection between the structures is still, an integral part of our design intent. So it will, a ground path, a natural ground path will remain, but we've now since removed that covered path. So we hope that, we can show that, we're making progress with respect to the comments you provided. If you wouldn't mind jumping to the next slide, please. This should be, again, some low-hanging fruit. Tina did address this, but we did review the barn with respect to hillside ridgeline ordinance, and it may apply. So our barn will be no less, no taller than 16 feet pursuant to that. And again, thank you. We've made that revision based off of the C-Bar comments. So thank you. So that's 2 of 4. The third one, if you wouldn't mind jumping to the next slide, 19.
I didn't get it, sorry.
That's okay. So this was your 4th comment. The 3rd one I'm addressing today, but it talks about difficulty making findings because the project is not compatible with surrounding areas, would result in light trespass. I'm going to push that because we'll talk about that as a final one, and is not a clustered development. We really took these comments to heart. We spent a lot of time researching, our project, our footprint, the neighboring properties, and how they would kind of relate to what we're proposing. If you wouldn't mind going to the next slide, please. Just to remind you, we're on a 20+ acre property. Our total footprint is about 1.5 acres. about 7% of the site. What we're proposing is a fraction of the total square footage that's allowed in Ag 1. Next slide, if you wouldn't mind. And in fact, our habitable area is really less than 4,000 square feet. So, but so we do understand the importance of not sprawling out. But again, after our research, we really feel pretty passionate that we're very comparable to those of the neighboring properties. I think we're consistent with the pattern that's happened on the other 20-acre parcels. So again, the next slides, and we don't have to go through each of these with the fine-tooth comb, but what we did is we collaged our footprint. You can kind of see us in the white there. That's on our site. So we kind of took that footprint and we put it over the neighboring properties, just to give you some perspective of how our project would look like, what it looks like on their properties, and what, to really illustrate that we believe we're of the same scale of a clustered development as our neighboring properties. So maybe if you wouldn't mind, just please flipping through the next slides. We don't need to stop and talk about it, but you can kind of see how we laid our footprint on other properties. So again, we spent some time, doing this. We thought it really kind of told the story here and illustrated that we're, consistent with the pattern in the neighborhood. So hopefully you appreciate this research. And the remaining item, I'll let the project architect address. That's the concern about lighting. So I think he'll want to start on slide 8 when you get finished with that. Thank you.
Okay.
Well, good morning. Thank you. I'm Andrew Hyde, the architect. And if we could jump back to slide 8, please.
You got it.
We really appreciate your time and attention and comments for our project here. And I would want to highlight that, again, one of the most dramatic aspects of this site are the distant views of the Santa Ynez Valley and the dramatic topography of our site. And that we really want to protect this kind of native landscape with our design and our site strategy. So we understand that, very much that the dark sky ordinance is a very serious issue, and that light trespass is is very important. It's defined by unwanted illumination on adjacent properties. So we've studied this extensively and concluded that due to the location of our siting on the hillside and the existing and proposed landscape, that there is no light trespass on adjacent properties. Now we know there's a concern for down the valley or across the valley, so we will try to address that today. So if we could go to slide 10, skip ahead. This slide is fine. So the quantity of glazing, again, our habitable area is about 3,900 square feet, which is quite a bit smaller than the neighboring properties and houses in our area. So that's, the amount of glazing for a much larger house is actually comparable to the glazing of houses in our area, in our neighborhood. If you go to, this is slide 9. So the other concern of the light trespass. Oh, it's 10.
This
So go to
is
slide
10. I skipped ahead when you weren't looking.
Oh, okay, sorry. This is fine. You can keep it on slide 10. So the comment about all the roofs sloping up, actually, no, only the main house slopes up, because we are very concerned about the light trespass. And so all of the other roofs on the property slope down along with the topography. But to take advantage of these incredible panoramic views that the client has bought the property for, we want to have the roof slightly slope up. So it's like a 1 to 12 slope. But we have these very dramatic cantilevers that shade those windows from the light trespass across the valley. Those cantilevers are 3 to 4 times the length of a typical of a typical roof overhang to reduce any lantern effect. So that's, I think, really important to keep in mind for the glazing. So the next slide. So in addition, actually keep on, you can stay on the previous slide. So in addition to doing that, we've also reduced the amount of glazing by sinking the house into the hillside. And of course, the way it's located on the hillside is it's screened by trees on all, on the three sides that face any neighboring properties. And it's set quite a ways down from the highest ridge. It's also important to remember that we're, as Tina said, we're quite a ways from any public road. The main entrance to the HOA is about almost 4 miles away. The only road you could see from below is actually, it's really a private road of agricultural land and a greenhouse and not any houses. So it's not really visible from any nearby road. And then finally, we've added additional landscaping. If you go to the next slide, the next series of slides, you'll see how the views from some of the roads below and how we've added landscaping to completely obscure any view of the house from any of the roads from the surrounding neighborhoods or the adjacent properties. And also it's, as you scroll further down to the slides, it's not visible from really the valley floor either, which is over a mile away, as Tina presented. Craig, you want to conclude?
Yeah, absolutely. So I, Madam Chair, members of the boards, I think that concludes our comments. Again, we've, provided 3 presentations, in front of you. We're really hopeful that we're, addressing your concerns. And if your board has any remaining concerns, we would appreciate any specific guidance on how to address that concern, that, if anything remains. So we're available for any questions, and again, appreciate your time.
Okay, well, right before we go to public comment, I have a couple of quick questions of what we're looking at right here. I think this is slide 15. Can you identify, it looks like we have a structure in here, we have one here.
Yeah, those are not on our property. Those are the neighboring houses that we've extruded to show the location of the other houses in the area.
Gotcha. Okay. Anybody else have any quick questions?
Or do we do public comment first, or do we do the questions first?
Questions.
Okay. I do have one question. Could you please remind me again? Just go to the site plan that shows all of the structures, and just maybe remind us what each of those structures is.
Sure. If you go to, yes, this slide. So the main house is the main structure and the largest kind of red pink structure.
With the link between the two that are sort of in the center there.
Correct. And then
there's a link. Sorry, just those. So that's the one on the left is what?
That's part of the main house.
Is it a bedroom area? Is it a living room area?
Living room, bedroom area, and then the right-hand side is the kitchen bedroom area.
And this is an underground garage, correct?
Correct.
Okay, and then let's go down from there. Then there's something. Well, you've got some of them are in pink and some of them are not.
This is the pool. This is the cabana.
Okay. Correct. And then what's that one right there?
This one here.
That's an unenclosed cover terrace, outside terrace.
It's just a slab.
Right, a deck.
And I think he said it had a cover.
I thought he said it did not have a cover.
So this has a cover or not?
Covered but unenclosed, so it's like a porch with a cover.
Okay. So it's a covered patio.
And the same thing up here.
Correct.
Patio. Okay.
And then this structure.
And then guest house.
That's what?
Guest house.
Okay.
And the barn?
The barn is just it's just to the right of the page. It's kind of cut. I don't know if you can scroll over to the right.
Yep, I can.
Barn is there's the barn.
Here. Okay. Right.
Okay. Thank you.
Do we have any public comment? Any members of the public who wish to address the board on today's this item? I'm not seeing any hands or anything waving. Okay. Do we have board comments? Who wants to start? Huck, you're looking earnest.
I'm looking earnest.
You don't have to start. We can start with Kat.
No, I don't, do we have a slide that has, the landscape plan with additional landscaping?
Applicant, can you guide me to a slide that has the landscaping on it?
There's project plans in the
Yeah.
file, Bethany, if you go back.
Okay, hold on a second. This is 4, right? Yes. Let me see. Hold on just a second.
While we're looking for that, I would say in terms of building coverage, given the area where it is, the neighborhood, I actually don't have any issues with the actual coverage. I know we've been focusing a lot on covered pathway and its previous needs, but is the grading, I mean, with each of these structures, even if they're small, there's a certain, and the road, there's a lot of, or there could be a fair amount of grading and ground disturbance. And I'm just curious about that moving forward, what that really looks like.
Well, there's some of it.
Yeah.
The grading plan actually has no net fill or excavation. It's all supplied on the site and captured on the site.
Are there any 2-to-1 cuts or fill?
I'm sorry, can you repeat that?
She asked, were there any 2-to-1 slope created, either cut or fill?
I believe we have some slopes that are at that gradient, yes. They are landscaped by restoring the native kind of grasses and landscapes there. If you go to slide 43, that's the landscape plan.
Okay, given the soil conditions out there, which is, you know, basically sand, I think there should be more consideration given to the actual grading so that it isn't just a cut or a fill that just meets grade, but how it meets grade and a minimum or a maximum, I guess, of 3-to-1 would be much more successful for revegetation in this soil type.
Okay.
Those are my comments.
Okay. I'm going to, and Tina, this is a question for you real quick.
Yes.
I don't know that I have no, I don't have the correct one. Applicant, could you tell me which slide has the barn on it?
22.
I found it. Okay, this is an aside. When I was looking at the plans last night, I can read this, the 3 building C northeast elevation. I can barely make out average grade, which isn't something we talk about. I can sort of read existing. I can't read any of the rest of this practically. So for future evidence,
Sure.
and this is to the planners too. When you get these plans, if you have trouble reading them, you might give some feedback to your applicants, because we're going to have trouble reading them, and it takes us time in the meeting. Because even if I zoom in way in, I still have trouble reading this. But this is as good a place as any, and I'm sorry to hijack everybody's comments here, but I'm just going to step in. I noticed this last night. For the planner and the applicant, the way the hillside ridgeline is calculated is you take this existing line this topography, whatever it is, there is no average, all right? You take that existing and you project it in a plane so that it's like a blanket off of a bed that's scrunched up that you just lifted 16 feet. And your building has to fit under that blanket, all scrunched up and everything else. And so you're actually you would be taking that 16-foot measurement then literally from that point where that existing grade is and then where the building is. So, and that's a set of documentation that you need to provide to the planner, because you could say it's less than 16 feet, the whole building is less than 16 feet, but as you're showing here, you could put the building on a plinth up above the existing grade and it would not meet our requirements as written, even though it's 16 feet. So you need to document, which is always tricky, for the planner, for their files, and then for us in the presentation, how you're meeting that 16-foot height requirement. Now, there is also, there's an extra, and you can go up to 19 feet if you have a 1 and 4, or yeah, a 4 and 12 pitch, greater than a 4 and 12 pitch. They give you an extra 3 feet. So that for next time, you'll need to show that documentation. Now, my feeling is you're probably not going to have a problem, but I will note that it's interesting that in this, with the existing grade, you've got a lot of doors that are opening well below the existing grade, which says you're doing some serious cutting. And I know you're balanced and everything, but that's interesting. So I'd like to see how that works out as it comes forward, just tying in with the grading. I think we're going to be looking at the grading a lot more closely. I'm just going to go ahead and finish my comments as long as we're on them. I think that for me, when we're talking about lighting, and this is maybe not the best slide, but there is a lot of fenestration, very open, and given the butterfly and kind of the upward trend of the roof, although it's not as extreme in this particular elevation, you're getting there's a lot of light that gets outside of the building, and while I recognize that there isn't any, and I can readily believe there isn't any light trespass to the adjacent properties. That's not our primary, it's not my primary concern at this point. I'm looking at, how much of this light, how that's going to impact a view distantly. Now, I know there are not a lot of adjacent public roads, and that, the primary views would be from like 246, and that's quite a distance away, for example. But there's an accumulated effect that we're also looking at. So that's some of my main interests. Now, I noticed when I was reviewing the plans last night that there's some interesting modeling that's going on here. I thought this one was really interesting. So you can see casts, these are your covered.
Yeah.
This is the house.
Yeah.
That's the underground garage. That's that other structure.
The
And
guest
then
house.
The guest house, correct. And then this is the pool and the cabana.
Right.
Portion. And I think the barn is off site just a bit. The other thing I'll mention in my comments is we don't, these buildings have to stand on their own, and they do, but as far as screening and such, trees die, landscaping dies. There's a lot, in the sense of a structure, typically landscaping can be considered somewhat ephemeral. I know oaks can live a really long time, but they also have to have some care, you know, just like the building to a certain extent. But to that end, we don't typically say, oh, this is great, just cover it up with plants. It really needs to be great without the plants, is where I'm going with it. The plants are a bonus and they can help. It's a consideration, but it isn't the only one. So we're looking at, you know, your site design and layout and everything else. Now, to that end, I will say that I was, when I was reviewing these plans, I was much happier with this, and I don't have issues with the way it is right now because of the elimination of that cover. For me, this is a workable plan to start to move forward with. So those are my comments. I'm sure I've missed a bunch of things. Who wants to go next?
Me? Okay, I'll go next. Thank you to the applicant. And I would agree with much of what our chair has said and what also Huck has said. I'm concerned about, I do appreciate very much that you removed that roof around the walkway. Thank you for doing that and for listening and hearing that. I do have, I think that as far as the site design, and of course, everything is all connected, right? Everything's connected. So we know that you have fabulous views there, clearly. But the views, as I think I said last time, they go both ways. We have to be concerned. We have to take our hat off and put the other hat on. And we have to think about what it is from just about everywhere else and not just our immediate neighbor. And I think Bethany has gone through that quite well. So it's not only, you know, be considerate of the views for others, not just the views from your one perspective. I think that the site plan, while is not so atypical maybe from a neighbor, it's that it's kind of it feels a little sprawling, I'm gonna say, because each one of these structures now with the design, with all of this glass, becomes a little light in itself. So instead of having a more compact design, where all the light would be emitting from one particular area, it's all now being spread across the site. So that concerns me, continues to concern me. I think that 4,206 square feet or 83% is what I read was the glazing. That seems excessive to me. So I think that in the design, framing the area is a great part of how you can really capture the views in a very skilled way. Just having glass everywhere doesn't necessarily give you the sort of the surprise or experiencing it in a more kind of controlled way between the solid and the glass. So I would urge you to kind of rethink that. And I know, as I said, just a few for our last applicant, that these, as a designer and an architect myself, it's always really important and helpful, I find, to get critical critique from others to really kind of step back and think differently about how you're moving forward. So I do think I agree with your comment that the roofs on the main house that extend out so far will protect from the sun above to give shade onto the windows. I agree with you about that. I do not agree that those roofs will help to keep the light contained within the house itself. They are going up and out, and they will help to project the light out at night when the light is emanating from inside the house. So I think that there's still, there's a lot of good ideas here and a lot of interesting things going on. I am kind of curious just as to why you would, I know this is a programmatic thing that that has been stated, but I'm not sure why you would want the pool and the cabana for the pool so far away from the main house. It seems to me it would be of advantage to get it closer to the house where you can use the protection. There's great winds up there, using the structures together to create more of a compound together that will protect you from the elements and make them all more usable. I think you can find ways to, make the project even better. So those are my comments. I still have concerns about all that glazing and the light emission. And then finally, on the grading that Puck mentioned, I am concerned not only just for grading, but this is like every single one of these buildings is going to be trenched out to for utilities and all kinds of stuff. So there is a lot of ground disturbance, which I don't think is the best way to be sustainable. Thank you very much and appreciate the presentation. Thank you.
Robin, you want?
I want to thank the applicants for their thorough presentation. Each time we've been moving forward, and I think we're really getting somewhere. And I have the same concerns that have been expressed, but I think we're moving forward and getting somewhere.
Okay, thanks, Robin. Lowell?
I would just concur with the other board members. I think Cass and Buck have covered all the points that I was concerned about, and appreciate the removal of the covered portion of the pathway. And I also agree with Cass's comment about the location of the pool. It would be much more usable and effective upon closer to the main house.
Well, if I could just jump in real quick, the clients really want the view to take advantage of the view there. That's why the pool's there.
I understand, sir, but I need to get my comments on the record. Okay. and kind of keep going. So when you come back, if there are things that you need to kind of tell us, or as it's part of your presentation, please just go ahead and stick it in that presentation. And then, we make our comments, but if we get too much of a conversation, we'll be dead. We'll never get through our meeting, sadly. So Nicole, I just want to give you, I'm just going to kind of give you a little recap, and some of what I'm going to say specifically about the grading is for the comments, because I understand what Puck meant, and we all understand what Puck meant, but I'm not sure the applicant is going to take away exactly what the intention, what we're trying to accomplish. So I'm going to start with that. With regard to the grading, Puck's concern is one shared by the whole board about the 2-to-1 slopes and the artificiality of it, and as well as the ability to be able to get anything to grow on it in that formation. So if this were done the way it is, you'd have this kind of this gentle slope across here, and then all of a sudden you've got this big pooch out. So what we're trying to do, and this is aimed towards the applicant, Nicole, capture this however you need to. What we're trying to do with our comment and Puck's stated goal of don't exceed 3-to-1 is that what we're trying to do is we're trying to feather this in. We're trying to make this look like it wasn't disturbed, that we didn't come in and slam this 2-to-1 slope, because if this is right now, yeah, it meets everything, but what'll happen is it doesn't feather out, and you've got these added trees that you're looking out for. You've got other features on the site that you're going to have to work around, and then you've got your grading quantities, and we understand these impacts, but you're going to need to you're gonna need to soften this. That's the best way to describe it, I think. And work with that 3-to-1. There may be a place or two where you just wind up like over in here, where you're winding up, you're just chasing it downhill. You won't be able to get away from that 2-to-1 slope. But what we want to achieve here is no 2-to-1 slopes where we don't have to have them. And 3-to-1 is a maximum, and then try and feather everything in so that it has a more natural and less built look to it when it's all done and the earth moving equipment moves out. Is that what we were trying to get? Did I capture it?
Yeah, I think that's accurate. I think when
Okay.
you're looking at specifically immediately adjacent to buildings.
Yes.
There are.
And the driveway.
There are ways, there are alternatives to simply a graded slope, whether it's boulder banks or gabions, or there are many ways to deal with slopes.
Yeah. So just open up the toolbox, so to speak. That's the grading comment. We're going to need to see some documentation, and so will the planner. It'll help Tina a lot, I'm sure, on the barn. And so the applicant will need to get with, and this is not necessarily for the notes, but just for the applicant, you'll need to get with the planner and make sure that you've got the most recent way in which to do that. And the planner can also help you with what kind of documentation you would need, but we will need at the next submittal something that demonstrates in compliance with that whole projection of the landform and how you demonstrate that graphically to us, that you're in compliance with either the 16 or the 19 feet as applicable. And then Nicole, I think you've probably got copious comments about the amount of fenestration and the roof forms. And then the comments about the landscaping. There weren't many comments about the landscaping, except as applied to screening. Is there anything else? Did I miss anything for Nicole?
Just the light accumulation.
Yeah, and the lighting, which will continue to be an issue. It'll continue to be a topic, not necessarily an issue, but a topic as we move forward. How do we want to see them return?
I would continue.
You would continue with conceptual.
Mhm.
Rest of the board? Think so? Puck?
I think there's too many questions about and opportunities with regard to the amount of glazing and the roof forms that need to be addressed.
Puck, you haven't said.
I'm thinking,
Yeah.
sorry.
No worries. I was actually leaning towards allowing them to come back for preliminary, but I'll be guided by.
You could do further conceptual / preliminary, and if they're ready, give them preliminary. And otherwise, stay with concept level.
That's kind of what I would like to do.
I agree with that.
Okay, so let me this is for the applicant, so you understand what we're talking about. We are allowing you the opportunity to go to a preliminary level and then to take care of a lot of these items that we're talking about. But there's a caveat here in that the board is not entirely certain that this is a one-step process. We'd like to have the option, because if preliminary is not on the agenda, we can't take that action. So we'd like to have it on the agenda as further conceptual and preliminary, which allows us to take a preliminary action if we feel you've reached that point and we can make our findings. However, it's not a guarantee. So we may just wind up with another conceptual review. So we just wanted to make that clear. Yes, Mike?
I'd just like to say too, for preliminary, getting the landscape plans to a preliminary level.
Yes, please do that too.
Is actually takes a lot of work to really coordinate everything with all of your grading. We're really looking at designing a preliminary level that could just simply be drafted into construction level drawings. So all of these design elements and solutions really have to be worked out and developed and shown on all of your exhibits. So it's exciting, but it's a lot of work.
Yeah. So really looking forward to seeing what you bring us next time. Very nice set of drawings, very nice presentation. And very pleased to see that roof cover over the pathway went away. Makes our job a lot easier. So until next time, we'll look forward to seeing you then. Okay, I'm gonna call item number 5, 22/129, long storage barn. Can we take just like a 3-minute break? Okay, so would the applicant go ahead and I think the applicant's probably here. We have somebody here for long. It's Tony. Tony, we're gonna take a quick break, so we'll be back in just like 3 minutes, okay?
Maybe it's not there yet.
Okay, well,
Yeah,
that's what we're
this
gonna
is-
do.
I'm sorry, this is Tony. I
Tony.
understand.
Okay, perfect. Just wanted to
All
make
right.
sure.
Yep, thanks.
Go ahead.
Okay. We're back. And this is long storage barn. And Tony,
Yes.
let me, I don't think the planner is here for this one. No. Okay, so I'm gonna go ahead and read the comments and then you tell me which which pages to focus in on, all right?
Sure.
Submit higher quality images of the existing home for reference to show color and detailing as the barn colors materials are to match the existing residence. Either demonstrate that the proposed lighting will not impact the property to the north or reduce the quantity of lighting so that there is a single light on the north side of the structure. All right, let's go.
So I believe, yes, scan down to the second page.
Okay.
Yeah, that one there. I've got, I've added 2 photos that help to give a better impression of what the existing residence looks like. And I think there was a comment to, help justify that photos tweak there. Well, both of those photos in that presentation are incorrectly
On
oriented.
their side. Yep, I noticed that.
Wow.
Okay.
So I think there was a request to show the existing residence, which will help to substantiate the 3 windows that are part of the barn eastern elevation. So this is a view of the house from across the canyon. You can see the fenestration, primarily the one to the right there with the shed roof. Yeah, so that'll help to substantiate the 3 window configuration. I don't know how in the world that happened, but this is a close-up of the tile roof, the barge rafter and the outriggers for color, and then also the plaster. The photo to directly above this was intended to show the dense landscaping between us and the northerly neighbor. And you can also pick that up in the Google Earth image there of the site plan.
So that would be this here.
Yeah, standing where the proposed barn site is to the south and then looking towards the vegetation, correct. And I think that's just a shed just over the property line, and the residence is further back.
Yes, this.
Yes, correct. It looks like an ag structure of some sort. And then just to illustrate that the plans are ready for construction, the rest of the set illustrates grading our lighting plan and our structural set, in addition to profiles of the proposed lighting on the exterior of the building. And I think there was a question about whether the north elevation had 2 lights, and it's really our preference to have 2 lights because it is so dark out there. If there's a project going on after hours and it's dark, 2 lights are really necessary. And I believe, we're sufficiently screened from the neighbor to the north. I don't think that creates any extra light spillage. And these light fixtures do follow nighttime sky ordinance. In fact, there's some better photos there if the others were, because they were skewed, maybe they weren't.
And this was that one that was skewed, that was taken right in that area, wasn't it?
Yes, a little further away, that's correct. So those 2 upper photos help to illustrate the adjacent neighbors. The upper photo is a view from Montecielo, and you could see you'd have to really zoom in to even barely catch the barn proposed there to the right of the pole up on the hill.
Right, kind of in that hole there.
Yes, that's correct. So I think that addresses most of the comments brought by the board in our last review.
Okay. Do you have any quick questions?
Yeah, I have one quick question, Madam Chair. Tony, could you remind us again what these windows are?
Yeah, they'd be a black framed fixed glass to be consistent with the main house. Again, the reference is that far away photo that I had taken from across the canyon.
Mm-hmm. And so they're a black frame with a fixed glass. Is that what you said?
Yeah, more of a, like an anodized frame with, and the existing residence has a tinted glass on it, a lightly tinted glass.
So that's shown here, right?
Correct. That's right.
Okay. Any other quick questions? Okay, let's go to public comment. Anyone wishing to make a comment on item number 5, please raise your hand or unmute yourself and let us know. Not seeing anything. All right, well then let's go to board comments. Who wants to jump in? Come on, somebody.
Pretty basic and simple and matching the colors of the existing structure.
Okay,
I don't have any further issues, so that
okay, and Robin?
I had a concern about the lighting. If you go back to the upper elevation, that one, you've got a light right by the man door, and then you have a light right next to the garage opening. So I don't know if at both ends you need 2 lights when you have one right by the man door.
Tony, are these lights all switched or any
Yeah,
motion or time or?
yeah, they're switched. So that door there, if you've spent any time out on this, in this area, it's extremely dark at times. So I don't believe the light at the front would have enough light spillage around the corner. So that's why I've added this, the secondary light there at the pedestrian door.
Robin?
I don't think it's excessive. I'm just wondering if it was necessary.
Yeah, I do believe it is.
You have to have that.
Man doors.
It's
I
required.
do know you have to have the man door, but I don't know about the other one.
Just a question then, and I'm okay with it the way it is, but if you were to put that light fixture on the right side of the door instead of on the left side of the door, and then put the other light above the garage door instead of on either side, or just on the other side, you could eliminate one light, which would be
Okay, well,
possibly.
let me, before we go.
Oh, that's a comment.
Before we
Sorry.
open it up with Tony and everything.
Sorry.
Well, I mean, they're here for
Mhm.
final, so this is past the time for comments. So, Lowell, Puck, Robin, how do you feel about Cass's suggestion, or is it okay as is?
The suggestion.
I think that is a suggestion.
Well, if we give it final, I mean, this is what we're approving, so.
Well, the light issue was brought up the last time, and I think we addressed it with this middle.
Yeah, I mean, it is what it is, so.
I say
Yeah.
considering the location of the project, it is very dark out there because I've lived out in that area. That's, I think the lighting is appropriate.
Okay. All right, anybody want to make a motion?
I'll make a motion.
All right,
Final approval of the barn.
Second.
any further discussion? Cass? Did you need it? Okay. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? All right, thanks, Tony.
Yeah, thank you to the board. Appreciate it.
Okay, item number 6, Rancho de Zo, Omarosa Winery, 21 bar 155. Puck, I know you have to recuse yourself, but please don't disappear. We're gonna do the minutes right afterwards.
The minutes from last week.
Oh, for this meeting.
Won't take-
Oh, that's
it won't
right.
take long.
Yeah.
And it won't take long. We'll get through them, but go ahead and step outside. All right, so, we have an applicant for.
Yes, I'm Josh Nieves, representing the architecture firm for this project.
Huh?
Um,
Hold on, just a second, I'm doing something different here.
There you are.
That's fine.
I decided to try sharing from the desktop, so this allows me to zoom in.
Ooh, okay, cool.
All right.
So yes, we're here for final review. There's a fair amount of sheets here, but we can probably skim through them to the important
Well,
aspects.
We do
Sure.
that, and so you know what to point out as we go. We asked
Mhm.
for color materials board with paint chips, samples, etc., and include a digital version of the board for the next meeting. Minimize lighting to that required by building code with specific attention to the crush pad area. So when we get to that portion of the plan, you can help us find them on the elevations and the plans and all that, okay?
Sure thing.
Right.
Yeah, so these
Just a
first few
little.
pages are just, site planning. Building has remained where it is at the south end of the lot up against the hillside. The building form has not changed. We just have a little bit more advancement in the floor plans and detailing as it is now in final. So this is first floor plan. The next sheet would be the second floor plan, where we just have second floor at the north end of the right side building. And then the next two pages, I believe, get us into the, this one's a zoomed in of the office spaces. The next page should be the first of the lighting plans. So just for ease of reading the drawings, we've included the screen grabs of the exterior lights on the top left. So we have a series of the F1 lights, which are the recessed step lights. That's actually the third one, sorry. Or the fourth. So we have those wherever we don't need additional lighting at a doorway around the perimeter of the building. Where your cursor is there.
Like here, here, and here, and.
Yep, we have we have pathways. We have pathways on either side of that building, so that would just lightly wash the pathway, and then at entryways we have the E2 light fixtures and the E1s. Those would just be wall sconces that would be only lit in the downward position with a narrow cone of light. And then where we have the crush pad.
Just as a quick question, did we add F1s, or were those here the last time we saw this? Because I don't remember them. Like, for example, so we've got little F1s along here, and then F1s inside here, but we also have this light inside. I'm assuming those are A's. So it just seems like there's still an awful lot of fixtures in here.
I don't believe we modified anything on that elevation. We did significantly reduce light fixtures at the crush pad per comments from last time. We only really have lighting actually in the ceiling of the crush pad, but we no longer have any of those lights along the wall. That would be, to the right and south of that crush pad. We have one E2 light at the doorway, but all the others we were able to remove after our last hearing.
Madam Chair, just while we're here, I'm sorry, what's the crush pad? Sorry to ask.
Oh, the crush pad, that's fine. It's in the center. It's it's the connective tissue between the building on the right and left. So it just has a flat roof.
What do you use it for?
It's an enclosed it's in a building, right?
Well, no, it's like an open breezeway.
It's a breezeway. Okay.
Yeah,
Why do you call it a crush?
That's where they crush the grapes.
Well,
Is that where you crush the grapes there? Okay, got it. Thank you.
Your jargon. All right. Well, let's go ahead and get down to the that's your lighting schedule.
Yep. And then we have a little bit more detail per light fixture, all the cut sheets and specifications, color.
And the 3000 Kelvin or 2700.
Is this night sky? This one?
Yeah, it would be, because it doesn't have any on the top.
Yeah, everything is set with just down light only. There should be no light spill upwards on any of the fixtures. And then this is just our roof plan. The elevations have remained as they were last time we reviewed, just maybe with a few extra notes for clarifications.
Now, are you showing your lighting on the elevations? Because that's
You probably
something
have
that,
to zoom in. I wonder if it got a little grainy. Yes, we are. I just don't know if they are extremely
I don't
legible.
I mean, I'm not even seeing.
We have an additional, let me see.
Well, there's one. See, I'm not seeing any of those little lights.
The step lights, you mean?
Yeah, I'm not seeing any step lights. And I have to tell you that if I had seen step lights on the elevations, I would have specifically pointed them out, because what we were talking about was specifically only what's necessary for code. And that's why we don't want to see, I mean, I see like over here, there's a light, and there's one here. I'm not seeing any of those little step lights.
I can read them on, when I open up the file on my computer here. If you go to CBAR 16, sheet 20 in the PDF.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, one more up. Sorry, or two more up. It's labeled CBAR 16. Sorry.
Okay.
And you zoom in on drawing number 2. That's. I mean, you could see where we have the step lights. There we have. One is being noted.
There, yeah. Well, I think that, well, we'll let you finish your presentation. We'll get it. We're kind of straying a little here. Let's go ahead and continue on. I think I got ahead of you there with the elevations. So
no, that's fine. I think, yeah, I believe, the step lights might not be as legible as we'd like on the drawings themselves, but you could see that.
We'll get back to it.
Okay. The next page is just a more rendered version of those elevations, just to get a better sense of building character and material. And then we get into some more.
Is this a representation of your color board, or is that yet to come?
No, that'll be coming down the pipeline.
Okay, got it.
Pages away. These next few drawings are more technical, structural engineering, and setting up for all of our exterior detailing. So they might not be extremely pertinent, but we do have all of our wall assemblies for the exterior walls, and then detailing of roof overhangs and window assemblies. That's what these next few sheets are.
Okay.
Some more window details, roof edge details.
They're all good for final approval. So, I mean, to be included.
Yeah, understood. And then if you scroll through these, we'll eventually get to the entry gate.
That's your entry gate,
which is,
right?
Yep, which is just a simple, gateway out of the same weathered material as the rest of the building. Framing the building beyond.
I'm assuming this graphic pictorial representation of chain link is not what's proposed or there.
Oh no, that's just a representation of if they desire to put in like a deer fence or something. That is not part of our design.
And not proposed.
For the gate. We were showing a discrete light just for illumination of the actual sign itself. just to slightly wash down the face of the steel.
Okay, and since that's part of the signage, is that included in our?
Was that a question? I'm sorry.
It's actually a question more for the planner.
Okay.
If the sign is implicitly included in the review, well, or in the approval.
Hi, Bethany. This is Ben. The sign is part of the sign is part of the review and will be part of your approval if you give it.
Okay, thank you, sir. So this is a picture of your color board?
Yep, that's the color board. So pretty simple materials, not that much variety. We have weathered corrugated metal, weathered flat panel, concrete, some perforated metal, and then the windows and doors will all be a matte black. And then we get into the landscaping drawings, I believe.
Okay.
Scott,
And you have
Scott
somebody-
from, yes. Scott, are you there?
Yep, present. Yeah,
Okay,
so
Scott.
again, not too much has changed through this, indicating just some path lighting on our layout plan, showing so the circulation of the pathway and material callouts, which are mainly decomposed granite and concrete, and some sort of artistic stone bands that are integrated in that pathway, and just our hammerhead and driveway and parking.
So this is the stone band here.
Exactly. So they're flush with the decomposed granite pathway, but just sort of a intersection and to break up that gravel.
Okay.
Detail sheet.
Materials.
Irrigation or Moello calculations worksheet.
Okay, and I'm assuming, we'll just zoom in for a second. Yep, that looks good.
And that's for both sheets. So we just have one of the Moello worksheets, but it's for both.
Got
This is
it.
continued irrigation.
Details.
Details, specs. Planting, which we do have some more dedicated plant material at the front entry along that gate. And then as you drive along the entry drive, more naturalized pasture and some existing olive grove along the top of the bank there.
Okay. Just a second. Let me see if I can get this to, it's not loading, it's all fuzzy.
Yep, gotcha.
In fact, it's kind of. There we go. It caught up with me. All right.
There you go.
Okay, so you're talking about the entry gate and then.
Yeah, entry gate, we have dedicated more of a native plant mix to dress that up, but keep it pretty low key. And then naturalized pasture, have some integrated oak trees and olive trees along the top of the bank there. Continue down, getting to the winery, more plant material along that creek edge to help a little bit of screening to the adjacent property, and then enhanced planting surrounding that pathway and parking area of, again, trees and low native plant material of grasses and shrubs.
And I think we looked at the specific.
Yeah. Stringyne, Pacific mist, coyote brush, lemonade berry, salvias, acacias.
Sorry, what too far. All right, and your planting details.
Planting details. And final specs there. Yeah.
And this is probably grading. I went too fast. The computer is thinking. Here we go. And this is the downloaded set. Okay. Did you, this is for the applicant, question for them, did you need anything to talk about on the grading plan?
No, it's fairly the same as it was before. It's just indicating grades and where we may need to adjust the topography a little bit and the road materials. So yeah, especially if it's not loading. If it's not pertinent, it's probably not that important.
Okay, let me try this. Let's see, it's the size of the file. Yeah, this is this is kind of to the planner and staff. You might break up some of these files. I know you request them broken up. It's really nice. It can be very nice to have them all together like this, but for final, when we have these huge sheet sets, it could be handy to have them broken up at least in half. Because this is what happens. We have to wait for it to kind of parse. Okay, let's go back to public comment. Let's call for public comment here.
Do we do questions first?
Yeah, well, let's go ahead and see. It's already started it.
Okay.
Do we have any very quick questions that we can get through for clarification? Anything from the board?
What was the material on the driveway?
What is the driveway material?
So the primary entry drive is asphalt, but then as the road wraps around the building to the north and west, it's a chip seal. So that would be kind of in the foreground. And then around the rear side of the building, the south side, it transitions to concrete as it slides into that open air crush pad in between the two buildings.
Okay,
so east side
as
is
we're looking at-
asphalt.
Right, so this stretch here is asphalt
Mm-hmm.
that I've got my cursor on, right?
Correct.
Then this, starting here, wrapping around.
Is the chip? Yeah, it's a chip seal. Mhm.
And then this is
And then
concrete.
Yeah.
Where does the concrete change back into asphalt?
And actually, I'm sorry. I believe asphalt might wrap around the south, and then the concrete happens with that change in material. Yeah, right there.
The parking areas in this parking lot, what's the surface?
Double check on that.
I could see if it'll load.
I believe the immediate, just south of the building, it's asphalt, and then it's chip seal.
That
Yeah,
includes the
yeah, that would be
parking
part,
and then back to chip seal?
and then that is a chip seal.
Okay, any other questions? Nope, okay. Still no public waving their hands wildly, so. All right, so let's go ahead and come to board comments. Anybody want to start? We can go back to that lighting.
I'll start, Madam Chair.
Yes, hit it, Cass.
I just have two things. I think it's really a nice project. I think it's very successful. I am just, this lighting thing just is something we have to stay after. So easy just to pop more lights in. And so I just really would like to see us go the other direction and start really being mindful about taking out as many lights as possible. We've got energy issues and we've got night sky issues. So the fewer, the better, in my opinion. And then just a general comment, I think it's, like I say, a really nice project. I just want to, and everybody, we've got a lot of landscape people here. So, but I just want to say that I find on so many projects that, I mean, my favorite landscaping is the natural landscape. Just the way it is right now with the oaks and just the golden grasses. That's my favorite, my personal favorite landscape, especially up here in the valley. And so I just want to bring that up, is that it always seems like even though many of the plantings are natives, it always seems like we just have maybe more plants than we really do need. So I'm not making that any kind of, I'm just making a general comment. And that's all, but nice job.
Okay. Robin?
Yeah, the project has evolved really nicely. I just have some concerns about the amount of lighting.
Lowell? Any comments besides the lighting?
No, I do just appreciate the simplicity of the buildings and the materials that were used in the buildings, and going forward, I think in the future, I think the amount of planting is could be addressed and be a little more conservative in the number of plants used, water requirements for those. For this project, I think it's very successful looking, and excited to see it go forward.
Okay, so I'm gonna do something unusual here because you are here for final. What I'd like to do is have us come to a little bit of a come to Jesus meeting, see if we can sort this lighting out right now and capture it in the motion so that you can get out of here. Does that sound good?
Yep. Sounds good.
Okay. Okay, so, and the applicant, that's good for you, you're cool with that?
Yeah, that'd be great if we can sort this out now.
Okay, Josh. So what I think I'm gonna do is, we're gonna walk around the building and see if we can create some kind of a verbal description of it. So I think, first of all, the F lights are what I think we'd really like to be able to get rid of. And is that something that you think you could work with me on?
Yes, I believe so. Mhm.
Okay, so then let's just start with this door right here. So we've got E1, that's one light fixture, and I think that's
That's the sconce, yeah.
this one here, right?
Mhm.
The sconce right here, which is beside the door.
Correct.
And that seems good. Let's lose these Fs. There's an E2 and an E2.
Yep, that's on the
And
other
that's this
side of
one.
that front door.
That's
Yep.
this one here. And that
Mhm.
seems reasonable. And then on this side, that's a metal panel. Okay, so we're losing those F1s. Now this is a door in here,
Correct.
right?
Yep.
And we don't have anything besides those F1s, right?
Yes, at the moment, yeah.
The F1s are the cylinders.
No,
They're
F1s are
the angled ones?
nope. The F1s are these little guys here.
Oh, okay, got it.
Okay, so, well.
Yeah, they're
it's-
wall mounted low to the floor.
Yeah, that's fine.
It's actually kind of nice what they've done, I think, because they don't have one of the other
No,
lights. They don't have
I wasn't
yeah.
suggesting that they use it. Where was that one? Did we have one of those over here?
There's E2, that's the one that's cylinder that's movable. And E1, the scout straight down, that's this one over here at this door.
Okay, so we haven't seen any of that other one, the angled one.
Yeah, we have, that's here, right here, up at the top, E2.
So are those mounted?
They're mounted to
facing
compliance.
toward the
They
wall?
push down.
They-
No, they just point down.
Yeah, they're mounted to the wall,
I don't-
facing down.
This one.
We're using the,
Oh, so they're not angled. They're in a position locked
Yeah,
to go
it's not mounted on a roof or the underside of an eave.
Mhm.
It's mounted on a
can.
wall. So you could figure this was sideways.
They're adjustable, right?
Yes, yeah, but they're pointed down
Yes.
they would be pointed down.
as per the elevation.
toward the wall.
Well, it'd be kind of
Straight down to the floor.
Okay. I'm just concerned about it angling out.
No, they can't.
So,
They, the way the elevations show it is that it's a very acute angle.
Okay.
Okay, so we understand our light fixtures. I think,
Wait, Bethany?
yeah, I know, Cole, we're trying to work with you here, so what we're gonna do, yeah, go ahead.
So are we eliminating the F lights with the exception of the ones by that door?
Well, that's what I'm trying to, we're trying to do is figure out a way to verbally capture it so that it's very clear. This is the east door off of the office lounge, Josh?
Yes.
Okay. So we're gonna say east door.
Does it have a door number?
Does it have a number on the schedule?
What, that door?
Yeah.
Door number?
Is it a discrete identifier?
It is door B101A.
B101A, okay. And that's not an identifier used anywhere else. That's discrete to this particular door?
That's discrete to this door, yeah, and that would be noted on the floor plans in this submission.
So F1, we're losing that one. All right, so down here at this door, we'd keep the E1, lose the F1, right?
Okay, that's door B109A.
B109A.
That's fine. I don't, as long as it's not changing, I don't need to know
Okay.
that. It's the exceptions with the F1s that I'm looking for.
Understood.
Okay, so these are E3s on the inside and an E2 on the outside. E2 is fine, and then an E2 here, by case goods. All right, and so on the crush pad, you have the C3s, and I think that's this one up here, this recessed linear strip.
Yep.
But we don't have anything on the wall, right? Unless we're here to the door.
Yeah, that's just adjacent to a door.
Those are up above the strip.
Yeah.
So this
we
E1
eliminated.
stay.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
eliminated.
you eliminated all the ones along
wall
this
lights.
wall.
Correct.
Yeah, that was a big difference. There was a whole bunch of them and along in here, and I think some over here.
Yep.
Okay, so these E2s are, that's the one that's adjustable, and that's in that storage area behind the deal, all right? That's fine, and then we're gonna lose these F1s, we're gonna keep this E1. Now here we have another door. Which one is this one, with just these two F1s inside the entry there?
You want the door number?
Yes, please.
104A.
104A, so it's A104A?
Correct.
Okay, all right. Although we do have this E1 here, would it be all right if we just lost these two? Because we have two E1s on the outside. We could just go ahead and lose those. There's an E1 here, E1 there, so we could lose those F on that door. All right.
That's fine.
All right. Okay, and so then we're around to the other side of the building. We're gonna lose the F1s along this space. And now we're back up to the office. Okay, so the only exception is this door right here on the east elevation, that's B101A. Or no, yes.
It was
'cause it-
that and A104A, I believe, on the all the way
No,
on
we
the
just
west
talked
side.
about that. You've got two E1s.
Oh, we would
on
keep the
east
E1s.
side.
I see. Sorry about that.
So
Understood.
I don't think, I missed them at first.
Okay. we're clear now.
Okay, so Nicole, the condition for the lighting, and we'll say this in the motion too, is that all of the F1 fixtures on the exterior will be eliminated except on the east elevation, door B101A, which is, you can put in parentheses, at the office lounge, will retain 2 F1 fixtures as shown. Okay,
Got it.
all right. I knew we could come to something.
Well done.
So do we need final on consent for them
No,
to come
no,
back?
no, this is gonna be a condition of the motion.
Okay.
And the planner understands that, the applicant understands that, and moving forward, the plans that are submitted to building and safety, correct me if I'm wrong, planner, but as moving forward, Ben, the plans will show all of those F1 fixtures not on the plan anymore, except for the 2 that are just by that one door we just mentioned, correct, Ben?
That is correct. And yeah, I'll check for those before approval of the land use permit as well.
Okay, so I would like to make a motion for final approval as presented with the condition that all F1 fixtures on the exterior of the building are removed except for on the east elevation door B101A, which is off of the office lounge. Could I have a second?
A second?
That was Robin or Lowell, whoever you want to put down. That was kind of simultaneously. Any further discussion? All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Thank you very much. It's a lovely project. It was a pleasure seeing it. You guys have a great day.
Thank you, you too.
Thank you. Okay, now we need puck back.
Yep, we need put back. And I'm going to share.
We've got 5 minutes.
We're almost
We have
done.
7 minutes.
We're gonna get out of here by noon. That was my goal. Okay, actually, I don't know why I'm sharing a screen. Nicole, you want to share your screen and we can do the minutes?
Sounds good. Says host disabled participant screen sharing. So I don't know if I need to get
let me see.
promoted or something.
You do. Hold on a second. Oh, we need to promote Nicole so she can share her screen. All right, take it away, Nicole.
Okay, in 1 second.
Can we turn on the lights for this?
Absolutely.
Oh, can you, I think, I've signed in twice because I'm signed in on my phone for the audio and
Oh,
on my
she needs to
computer
be the
for
other one.
Yeah, sorry.
Is it change role to attendee? Is that the one I, oh, you're the only one that's allowed to do it. Yep.
Thank you.
Yep. Okay.
Let's see.
You can,
We can only
that,
see it.
you can zoom in a little.
Maybe make it
Yeah,
bigger.
turn the light
Can you
on.
make it bigger?
She's making it bigger. Okay, that's good.
That's good.
Okay, so, instead of, you could, the motion, and this is more for Jonathan or hearing support than it is you, Nicole. I don't want it to say concept preliminary and final approval or review. You could just say the yes, thank you. Preliminary and final approval. That's basically the action. All right, scroll down to the next one. I wasn't here for this one, so you
Do we say
guys-
granted or do we just say approved?
It'll get wordsmith later.
Okay.
It's just the
Don't
comment.
we want the condition to match the existing tanks?
Yeah.
That was,
Yeah.
that was part of that.
That's right. Nicole?
Thank you, Robin.
The only comment in there, and this was part of the condition, was that the proposed tanks are to match the existing ones adjacent,
Green.
whatever color it is.
There was green and black.
Yes, but
Green.
it's to match existing. I think it was green, I don't think it was black. Existing adjacent tanks. Okay, all right, good catch. All right, so number 2,
This is the change.
and I can't comment on this, so you guys need to make your comments and we can move on to the next one.
No one say class, but isn't necessarily the style. Not much.
Well, residential. It looked to, I was trying to say residential or like a motor court motel. It has sort of that 60s vibe motel look. I was trying to find a way to say that.
Yeah.
Multifamily residential.
And I would say the appearance, not style.
Yeah, the appearance. The
Let me know what you want me to write.
would say the design has the appearance of a multifamily residential structure.
Yeah.
How do you feel about number 2? Seems like maybe that isn't quite.
There was a couple of issues there with the environmental stuff.
I don't know if it's just additional shade or if the whole thing should be, it wasn't necessarily this is your fix, but to study that that elevation.
And rather than
So many-
environmental issues, be more specific and say solar exposure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, Nicole, so appreciate attention to solar angles, solar exposure, comma, and then I would just say windows. Don't say however, just say windows on south, southwest need to be studied for sun protection from sun. Does that sound better?
Is there a better word than overbroad? That's what was said, but I'm just wondering.
Yeah.
No descriptive word. Contrived.
Could be more natural.
Yes.
About
But
it,
that's what you were saying.
yeah, it currently, or maybe just delete that, just delete it into a more natural landscape. And I don't think you have to say that last piece.
Well.
To make it,
yeah.
to make it fit, to make the structure,
Have the opportunity to
make the structure more. I think my brain isn't working.
feel more integrated into the natural landscape.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you hear that, Nicole?
Yeah.
What?
Yeah.
Take.
I know.
There's one massive olive tree.
And that's in that corner.
So on number 4, I would say the full height windows on second floor. The windows on second floor read as doors. And may not need to extend to the floor. Or maybe the design might be benefited. Okay, I think that's okay. Do you think that's all right? Okay. Okay, then,
I think there are two main issues. One is the information about the site plan. So maybe number 6, could we provide additional information on for the site plan, including photos of the surrounding area to provide context, comma, existing edge of road locations.
I can't hear you too well.
existing, she said, existing features, well, existing road conditions and other prominent features. That's not.
And setbacks.
Existing road conditions, comma, setbacks.
And
other prominent.
Yeah.
So after road conditions, comma, setbacks and other prominent features.
And then period, and then add to that same one. Where was the part about the sections? Oh,
Number 8.
yeah, but we'll split it up. Provide east, just cut that section, provide east, west, north, south sections to the approach.
Do you want me to move this? You want me to move this up to a new comment?
Same place.
You want that as a part of 6 or its own comment?
All right, use 10, actually. Move the sections down to 10.
Provide height
calculations and east-west
sections.
Building siting can be better understood.
Relationship to existing.
So that proposed buildings relationship to existing grades can be better understood.
Where are you wanting to add this?
On number 9, so that buildings, like apostrophe S, buildings citing.
So in other words, north-south sections, so that, not to that, so that the building citing is more clear.
No, buildings relationship.
So that
Go back, get rid of citing.
Buildings relationship, the building relationship.
Like buildings, apostrophe S, relationship to existing grades can be better understood.
could we combine 8 and 11? Articulation in the massing. 7 already addresses the size, bulk, and scale, which you talked about was too large. And then there, I think it was, study the articulation and better define the hierarchy of entry, the entry and other parts of the building. So I would just take 8 away and then just make, or 8 and 11 seem to be the same.
So why don't you say again what you just said to replace those two?
What did I say?
Study
the building articulation with respect to hierarchy of front entry versus
wait, hold on.
secondary. Hierarchy of entry and entry sequence for front door.
Wait. Sorry. Study the building articulation with respect to the hierarchy of the front entrance.
Yeah, that's fine. Entrance.
Just leave it at that.
Okay.
Or put front entrance.
Front entrance. And
because you also had issues with the just long roof lines. And
Yeah, you said
roof mass.
uninterrupted
Yeah.
ridge line.
I think that should be,
massive roof with respect to the roof.
That's what this comment was trying to capture.
yeah,
Okay.
but I think it,
I think we need to be specific about the roof line.
Yeah.
yeah, that, and I would just put period and then have a second sentence. The, roof lines, building facades.
Restudy.
Yeah,
Restudy. Roof line.
Unbroken roof lines and building facades. So that actual building structure is more articulated.
For a more articulated massing, and then you can pull that other above down.
I mean, I think we're pretty much there.
Yeah, we're close.
We're just
very
moving words
close.
around now.
I would say it's.
But we did capture it,
articulated because they did have a lot of stuff like planted on the building, but the actual structure of the building was just big boxes.
Okay.
I think we're good.
All right.
Oh, how did I
Next
say
one.
this one was gonna come back? I didn't put that.
Oh.
Further
It's
conceptual.
Further conceptual.
Yeah, further conceptual.
Continued.
Okay, number 3.
Yeah, it would be, because it says next pass further information. Yeah, I don't think we're ready.
Number 3.
No.
I think we can start off by saying that light trespass and
Number 2.
and emission, I'm kind of starting over. Light trespass and emission is the primary concern. And to that end, please focus on the following.
So this is. Just gonna stop for this one.
That's why I went outside. It started to feel weird. And then you can just do a colon, and then I think you could say, I think I'd start with on the eastern elevation, number 4.
Those are actually clear story windows.
I'm getting there. Give me a second.
Okay.
The 2 triangular openings slash, you could say do you think we could just do a slash because
Yeah, but I
non-architectural
wouldn't say, I would say triangular fixed windows, not openings.
Yeah,
2 triangular clear story windows,
yeah, just take out openings and the slash,
clear story windows, yeah.
okay? Should be eliminated.
Do we say,
eliminate.
was that a directive, or do we say consider?
I think it was a directive. It was a directive. Should be eliminated without affecting views, yep. Without affecting views, Nicole. Okay, and then the next thing should be,
Are you gonna do like, these are all like as following?
these should be,
So
yeah,
Yeah, I'm gonna
on the-
bullet it after I get all of them,
Oh,
because
she'll bullet
otherwise
it after she's got it.
it'll get
Okay, fine.
wonky.
Okay, so the next one should be,
reduce quantity of glass amount, reduce,
I think
glazing.
it's on the same elevation, on the eastern elevation, not side, eastern elevation. The deal about the doors.
Yeah,
And that was,
the folding
I think number 4, that's consider extending the band of windows on the east elevation instead of having doors.
Mhm. So consider eliminating folding doors and continuing the pattern of the window.
I think that's what she says.
Well, it doesn't say eliminate the folding doors.
It says instead of having glass doors. How about consider extending the band of windows on the east elevation into the area of the glass doors,
To replace.
or to replace the glass doors.
Did we say to eliminate the accordion doors?
I thought we said consider it, to consider taking those out, to reduce the amount of glazing overall, to consider removing the folding doors
Yeah, I
and
don't have
continuing
that.
the windows.
No, it was one of the last things we said.
Okay,
Yeah.
I didn't catch it.
And I very clearly said it.
Yes. So consider extending the band of windows on the east elevation to over to the, whatever that other side is, west, to replace the glass accordion doors.
I think it's clear enough there.
Do we need to say there is opportunity to reduce light trespass in this area?
No, I think you can take that out. Then the next thing is the interior lighting, or the tinting windows, we should say both. Let's do consider tinting the windows, put that next up. Okay, and then take the, when you do the interior lighting comment, that should be the next one.
When we have like number 1 and then you have A, B, C, D, so that when you're referring to it, it's really easy.
She'll
She's
put
gonna
them
do
in.
that, but instead of bullets, 1A, 1B,
Yeah,
1,
yeah.
so you don't have to call out the bullet number.
Okay, so now when we're looking at, guys, when we're looking at the interior lighting and design, I don't think it was that. What I was saying, look at interior lighting design and consider it.
Impact.
Well, I was trying to link it to the dark sky and I actually said something, I can't remember exactly what it was, but I was saying, you know, kind of consider it as
Design
though it
interior
was.
lighting as it would appear, exterior lighting.
Yeah, as if it were an exterior light.
Yeah.
You, like use of a, I know, right.
No, we can act.
We
just
can
can't
recommend.
And we did. We asked them to consider it within that idea. So there you go.
I thought it was interesting when Lowell mentioned, you know, looking at it like an open structure.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that would be great if it was.
Well,
like
and
that,
then
'cause
you could just say
control it.
that. We could say, look at interior lighting design as though the structure had no walls.
That's what we said.
Yeah.
Well, I think the clear story, removing the clear story glass is really important, because that's where the fixtures are gonna be up in that area. So that's-
And there's also a clear story window on the other side, but I didn't think that was of importance the way, yeah, and the way it was.
Are you guys deliberating or are we doing comments?
No, we're not.
No, we're
I'm
trying to figure out what
talking
we said.
about what we actually said. So D, look at the interior lighting design and consider it as though they're, and consider it as though it was an exterior.
How about this? Consider impact of interior lighting design on night sky intrusion.
That's basically what we said, but yeah, okay, I can deal with that. And then,
So instead of look at, say consider. Or study or something. Consider interior lighting.
I think study is better than consider.
All right, you
No,
guys, these words
that
mean
one.
the same thing. Come on.
No, we're working, this isn't easy.
Not easy on Nicole.
And you can take its out.
Okay,
You
no,
can
that's
take it-
fine. Yeah,
Take
we're
its
done.
out,
And
just
we're
say,
hungry.
and impact on night sky intrusion.
It's fine the way it is for me. Okay, so, what else do we need to say here?
We already said, that we're concerned about the amount of glass when we say, I guess you could put that at the beginning. that that's
Okay,
the-
well, let's do this. For E, we're gonna say, we appreciate the idea of interior, blinds, interior window treatments. Yeah, there you go. Appreciate the idea of, interior window treatments. But these are unenforceable and could be removed.
I don't think we can count on them. It's just like the landscaping.
That's
thing.
exactly what I just, it's
Right,
unenforceable
right,
and could be removed.
But, so what's our point?
And
It was more just to say that we appreciate that you offered it, but it's not enforceable.
right, we're,
And other methods should be studied.
no, I think that's implicit up above.
Well, we're making the statement. It seems to me that we should tie that
I
together,
agree.
Okay,
tie it
okay.
together and
Yeah,
say,
it kind of wraps it up in that
Yeah.
statement.
Okay. And then exterior light fixtures,
light fixtures should be, are required, aren't they?
to be night, instead of should be, say just to be dark sky compliant. Because we did talk about that.
Yeah.
All right, does that work?
Yep.
Clock, number 4. Sorry, I didn't mean to be rude. I think number 1 could say that the removal of the covered pathway is an enormous help in making our findings, because I actually said that.
I would just say appreciate removal of the, like you just said, but I would take building coverage and layout is acceptable. I would put
Just
that
take it out.
Take that out.
Who
But
said that?
some people said that.
Board
some people
appreciates the
didn't.
removal of the covered pathway. So, or appreciate them, but that's fine the way it is.
Yeah, just.
Okay. I don't like a lot of, let's see,
Excessive
yeah,
amount.
there is excessive glazing. Well, I would say all the structures, they're all designed in the same way.
Yeah.
So I would
Except
say
the barn.
glazing on all the residential structures.
Yeah.
Will result as a, and get rid of this.
Yeah. Take, yeah.
That's good. That's.
Okay,
Spread
Yeah.
out.
I'm not sure about number 3, but number 4, that's not what I said, and this
Number
is,
3, I said that.
I'm talking about number 4.
Okay.
I think you could say that the trees and, other screening landscape elements
Cannot be relied upon.
cannot be relied upon.
Or screening of anything.
Just cannot be relied upon.
For permanent screening.
Okay, for
Yeah, so-
permanent screening, all right.
So take all that middle part out, right?
Yeah,
And just go to for
yeah, that captures.
that last part of the sentence you can keep. So the rest goes in.
Okay, is that good?
Mhm.
All right. Now, number 3. 3 really has more, and the way I see 3 really has more to do with whether we're accepting the layout of the buildings and ties into Cass's comments and Will's comments about the placement of the pool, which were comments that were made. So I think we need to come up with a comment that, or an encapsulation of the comments about the way things are laid out right now in the programming. And nobody really said, I object to all these buildings being spread out on the site today. Nobody did.
Well.
I did. I said that I thought that it was spread out, sprawl, and that added to the issue of multiple light sources.
Yeah, you
Okay.
I did say
So
that.
You
then
said
let's
site
do
plan
this,
feels
then let's do
scrolling.
this in number 2 at the end of it.
That's where she got it from you.
Yeah, after outward, Nicole, just put a period there and then say
And
the,
each becomes a light source.
hold on a second. The fact that the buildings are spread out will exacerbate the issue with lights. Trespass.
Or how about this, the design of the building spread out. It's the design,
The site.
this
design.
current design, the site design with spread out buildings result in multiple sources of light.
Okay, that's fine.
Yeah.
Okay, whatever I said.
Punchy.
Do you need us to fill that in? Okay.
You also said, why is the confinement so far from the house to protect?
That's site layout.
That, I think that's,
Yeah, that's a stupid thing. All right,
and I
so,
think Lowell also said something.
Yeah, he agreed.
okay, comment number 5, I think what you should say is that the goal of the grading is to produce a more softened, natural appearance.
Could we say something about, minimizing, we're trying to minimize the grading. I just wanted to throw that out as you.
It's not something we said.
I did. I said minimizing the grading, and I talked about the issue of trenching. And that it was gonna require a lot of trenching.
Hold on a second. The goal of grading is to
That's
produce a more
definition.
softened, natural appearance
Okay.
than the 2-to-1 slopes that is created by the 2-to-1 slopes proposed. Than is created by the 2-to-1 slopes proposed.
Well, when you say when the goal of the grading, is that our goal or is that their goal? Whose
Just
goal?
a minute, let me get it out there and we
Okay,
can come
sorry.
back to
I
it.
can step out of the room if you want.
I just need to finish that. So, and then it can carry on with a maximum slope of 3-to-1 instead of 2-to-1 will be much more successful. Would better support ridge vegetation and result. Okay, so all I've done is kind of set it up.
Well, then do you not need that first sentence?
No, I think you need it because that's what we're trying to say. It makes it.
Well, then do you want to say an overarching goal?
No.
I mean, we're saying this is the goal from our perspective, but they're.
How about this?
It's not clear whose goal it is.
The board would like to see the grading produce a more softened, natural appearance.
Better, good.
So.
Say that again.
The board would like to see and then you can take goal of out. No. Just take goal of produce. There we go.
Yeah.
You said something that I think was really important, that we want it feathered in the 3-to-1.
That can be at the last, after natural appearance, you could say result in more natural, you could, and take out would result in more natural appearance at the bottom there, would support better vegetation.
Or feathered in.
Hold on a second. Just in the sentence there, that's revegetation.
I don't, do you want me to delete what's highlighted?
Yes, please. And then at maximum of 3-to-1 slope and feathering in of the, how do you want to say that?
I'd say, and create more seamless transitions.
Okay.
Very
than
nice.
existing grades.
Exactly.
Take out the feathering. Say it again, Puck.
And create more seamless transitions with existing grades.
You want me to put it at the end?
Yeah. Seamless transitions with existing topography.
Okay, that captures it. All right. Okay, 6 is fine. I don't know that we need 7. Is there anything else that we?
Where was the part about the site plan?
I think the pool.
That can be
And the
that can be the
pool
last
part.
comment. That could be number 7.
Okay. You said something along
The
the line.
distance of the pool from the main residence could be, is potentially problematic. How do we want to phrase it? Just as a kind of.
Consider locating the pool closer to the residence.
I took it, and then you guys correct me as I'm wrong, okay, because I didn't make the statement, you guys did, you and Cass did. But I took it more as a, hey, guys, you might want to think about this, not as a, we usually when we say consider, we're really emphasizing that. So I think what I took it as this is a heads up.
Yeah.
Well, could it be included with that? So we say, and I'm just suggesting maybe the spread out in number 2, the spread out.
I don't want to weaken it. I think
site
2 is all
plan.
about lighting.
The spread out site plan will result in, in multiple sources of light, and also may not be the most effective.
Well, we had multiple people saying they were fine with the site plan, so you guys might need to take a vote.
No, that was only me, I think.
We had discussion about it. And
Yeah, it was public.
I mean,
Well, I concurred with you. I didn't
You asked the question, why is the condo so far from the house?
I think, guys, can we just accept that it can be its own point at number 7?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, we're just
So
talking.
then let's, instead of talking about putting it in 2, let's figure out what to say in 7 with regard to the pool. And I don't care if you want to use consider, it wasn't my comment.
Consider.
I think we have to, because I don't think we said this is a condition.
Yeah, it was a question like, why
You said why.
would you do that? And also I said to consider the benefits of having the buildings
Do
less,
that, Nicole, consider the
less sprawled
benefits
out.
of reducing the distance between the pool and Cabana from the main distance.
And also what I was trying to say is that, and what I did say, was that, and the benefits, not only of
I think,
access.
does this capture it?
Not only of access, but also of better use of the buildings together against the elements.
You did say
The
that.
wind,
I
the
don't
sun.
have the access part, but I have.
But, okay, so how much do we want to design this project?
Yeah, I would just.
I think this, well, I don't mean to be, this is a really important project. And I think it's really important to, address these. And that's what the issue is because they're all spread all over the place and each one of them is a light source.
So
And it's
just tell me what you want me to type. Just tell me what you want me to type. If you want me to add something or if this is.
Are we okay with it as it is? Yes.
I'm reading it.
Guys, I have a doctor's appointment at 1. I really thought that we would be.
Yep, we've got.
In the agenda, and my chief recusal, so.
Yeah.
Sorry, I have to move.
No problem.
You recuse yourself from the last and right. Are we done with this one? Can we move to number 5? Okay.
I think somebody did say something about the utilities.
I did.
Yeah.
Trenching.
Also, she said something about.
Just tell me what you want me to type. Whoever made
We're
the
working on it,
comment, tell me
Nicole.
what you want me to
Nicole,
type.
we're working on it, Nicole.
There's something about in clustering them, you protect it from the elements.
Well, that could be tagged on to the end of the sentence.
I don't know if you want to put it there, but
Okay.
I did hear it, and I had it.
I understand that, but I don't want to reopen the discussion on the item. This is the danger of doing these minutes right afterwards. I'm trying to hold on to the benefits.
We're not having the discussion, we're just remembering what we
I
said.
understand that, but Cass was the one who said it. Now, can we capture it very quickly and easily?
Well, there it is.
Okay, then that's fine. Does that mean it?
You're happy with that?
Maybe take them out, may help protect from the elements.
And reduce
functional.
utility trenching. Will that take care of it?
Yeah, and reduce the amount of disturbance, trenching and other.
Can we just say and reduce trenching for utilities?
Mhm.
I like the idea of just putting disturbance. It's not just trenching.
Yeah,
it's not just-
disturbance.
it's
Well,
not
then
just-
put disturbing, no, leave what you had, Nicole, that was fine. And just add disturbance, trenching and the like.
I just like
Disturbance.
site disturbance.
Yeah.
Okay, that's
I think
fine.
that's cumulative of everything.
Yeah,
it does.
I agree.
Okay, that's fine too.
Okay, 5.
Okay, let's go to number 5. Let's get the heck out of here.
That's approved.
Yep,
Okay, 6. Yeah, we're getting somewhere.
6 is approved.
okay. You can just eliminate
And then it
all
just- does that
F1
say the
lights
right
on the
thing?
exterior except on the east elevation at door. You can take out the east door. No.
You
Further-
say east twice.
Take that out. B101A, office lounge, which will retain 2 F1 fixtures. I didn't say which will retain, I don't think.
Wait a minute, you did. Let me
Okay.
look at mine.
Then that's fine, leave it just like it is. That's how I
will
made it.
retain 2 F1 fixtures.
Say and instead of which.
Yes.
Okay, I'd like to make a motion to adjourn.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Aye, we're out of here at 12:35.
Good meeting.
See everyone.
Good to
Thank
see
you,
Lo.
Nicole, I appreciate your patience.
Thanks, everybody. Enjoy your lunch.
Yeah, good job, everybody.
Thank you so much.